Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are Gary Sharp and Ravi Lula.
Now the 1-1. Higgins cracks one in the air, deep left field. That ball's back to the wall, gone. Two-run homer, B.J. Higgins. Cubs are right back in the ball game.
The pitch is swung on and hit in the air to deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Hooray, Jose. He hits a two-run home run into the left field seats. And the Yankees now take a 9-1 lead. 0-1. Swing and a drive pretty deep to left. And it towards the wall. He's gone. A two-run homer for Eduardo Escobar, who jumps on a changeup from Perez. And Escobar has hit his third home run of the year. It is 10-0 New York.
And it's on the way, and a little flare, right field. That's a hit, and the Diamondbacks do indeed walk it off. Cooper Hummel delivers, and the Diamondbacks in 10. They win it 8-7.
Cale Makar is waiting, has his fourth goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs. 2 points in that first period. He has the puck now. Slides it underneath for Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen now for Kadri. Shot. Rebound is loose. Kadri gets it back. He shoots and scores. The Kadri man can. It's a power play goal, and it's a 4-2 lead for the Avs. Sent for Yamamoto. Near side wall. That's broken up. Landeskog tried to get it out. He does. To center ice through the legs of Draisaitl. Intercepted by Landeskog. Feed from Barry. Landeskog open net. You betcha. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Makes it 8 for the Avalanche with 21.4 seconds to go in the third, and this place has erupted.
Hey, look at that. Last night, Shane's adopted NHL team, the chief rival of his longtime Detroit Red Wings, had an all-star game break out in Denver last night between Colorado and Edmonton. There were 14 goals scored in the game. There were 5 scored in a span of about 5 minutes.
That game was intoxicated.
That game was downright drunk.
Damn right, yes.
That was a tough night in the NHL if you were on the unders.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, oh, man, I see that goal total. Dang, I'm going to pound the under. Well, you got pounded.
Mistake.
14 goals. So Edmonton's on this run of poor game one performances. Just Mike Smith. That wasn't all Mike Smith's fault
That
last
qualifies
night.
as a poor game one performance, though.
But gosh, you know what? So we talked about it a little bit yesterday that you have 2 legitimate superstars. And then once you tune in for the superstars, you realize, man, Colorado's got depth. That fourth line is even intoxicating. But you've got really, really good players on both sides.
Yeah.
And then the game just gets squirrely. And it seemed like every shot was going in last night.
Oh, yeah.
It was entertaining for TV. I'm sure both head coaches afterwards said,
oh, losing their mind.
But you should never apologize for a win.
Of course not. That's I don't think Colorado has anything to apologize for. It was
about that.
Fantastic television.
Oh, it's
I mean, just you can't take your eyes off of it, right? Because if you do, you're going to miss 3 goals. But you're right. That was especially at the end of the game, which ironically, none of the shots went in at the end of the game until the open netter, right? But you're expecting every single shot to go in. And Edmonton had some really good opportunities to tie that thing up. I mean, they had some point blank, several point blank shots to get that thing to 7-all, which it sounds ridiculous to say in a hockey game. Yeah, they had some really good chances to get to 7-all.
There is at one point, if they would have pulled both goalies and eventually both starting goalies were out, one due to an injury, the other because he couldn't, stop a cold, would you have noticed? We're like, nope, free skating all over the place. I mean, that was wild last night. And now people that were like, okay, if I'm not watching the game, I'm seeing on social media that this is just bonkers. I'm going to watch. You probably will not see 14 goals scored, maybe in the entire series in the Eastern Conference, which begins tonight between Tampa Bay and the Rangers, because you got 2 great goaltenders.
Probably.
Well, Carolina,
we don't know for sure.
It took Carolina 13. It took Carolina all 7 games against the Rangers to score 13 goals. I mean, the East compared to the West, isn't that how sports is?
Yeah.
Like the West is all about the offense. We look at basketball.
Just open it up.
The East is, I live on the East Coast.
Bruisers.
Yeah, I got
bullies.
winter.
Yeah.
I got hardened skin.
Yeah.
And we play ugly, just brass knuckle
Grind
type of
it
sports.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
I mean, I don't want to stereotype, but
no, you're right though. I mean, you've got it's basically it's Golden State versus Boston.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And we've got that coming up tomorrow. Yeah, it kind of feels like it's that way in almost every sport.
Mm-hmm.
Where you've got your 49ers, your West Coast offense, and then you've got, I don't know, pick any team, the Steelers.
Yep.
Where just grind it out, ground and pound, where everybody on the West Coast is just like, let's open this thing up, baby. Let's go.
I mean, look at even college football, like the Pac-12.
Yeah.
The Pac-12 for the longest time, known for offense. They don't play any defense. They play a lot of touch football. And on the East Coast, I'll throw the Big Ten in there. They play 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Exactly. Especially the Northeast, right?
Yes.
The Northeast especially. And you wonder, I think originally there's probably a reason for it. It's probably the weather, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to throw the ball in California than it is in Boston in January.
And you got to be sexier on the West Coast compared to the East Coast.
Yeah, because people could just go outside and be like, this is better than watching your stupid game. And it's the Miami problem, right? You get that.
Yeah.
Miami has a hard time drawing sometimes because if you're not incredibly entertaining, they're like, I'm just going to go do anything else in Miami.
Yep.
And they do because it's freaking Miami. Whereas if you're in the Northeast anywhere, pick Boston, New York, Philadelphia, pick one, right? You're just, this is all we have. It's the only thing.
It's such the difference, the West and the East in our sports. And last night kind of reiterated, and tonight we'll further move that point along when you see defense, when you see great goaltending. Now, that was bad defense, bad goaltending, great offense, great depth, great skill talent, great skaters, all of that.
And a bit of an aberration, right? I mean, that's not.
So Edmonton has had these game ones in the playoffs where they just have lopsided or just crazy high scoring. I mean, look at the start of the Calgary-Edmonton series in the Battle of Alberta. And then they kind of settled in, especially Mike Smith, because there have been 19 playoff games in the history of hockey that have had each team score at least 6 goals.
Yeah.
Edmonton has been involved in 2 of them this postseason. I mean, how crazy is that number? Now, and here's the thing with the NHL is if people watched that last night and they said, oh, my God, there's playoff McKinnon. There's Connor McJesus. There's, Kadri. A goalie left because he had blurry vision in Kemper with Denver, or Colorado, which is that's a key thing.
It's a bit of an issue as a goaltender.
If a goalie can't see the puck and he sees like 4 of them, you probably should say, "Hey, come with me. Let's go in the locker room and let's check this out."
Especially in hockey, right? Because with perfect vision, you can barely see the puck. This isn't soccer where you have a pretty large ball, you got a little time to adjust to things. In hockey, if you can, it'd be like being a catcher with blurry vision. Like that's not gonna go well.
That umpire would be getting crushed. Whoa, Hunter Wendelstedt, bad call. So how do you keep that audience coming back? Because the NHL had one of those nights when there was really nothing going on. The NBA was off. The NBA is off till Thursday. So you kind of had the stage to yourself.
And you had this bonkers game.
Yeah, and you have a very popular team in the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah. And just makes me want more of an Avs Tampa Bay Lightning final.
Well, and then you got, on Thursday when the NBA does start, they're going to be playing at the same time. So that actually is really, really good for the NHL last night. Just the excitement last night. Now, the 8-6, that was great last night, but it was also awful. It was, a lot of people thought it was awful hockey, but it was great as far as entertainment goes.
Your adopted team won.
Now, and the win was great. It was almost just too much, though. Just the back and the forth. Here's the highs and the lows.
Shane, did you not, Robbie and I, don't ever apologize for a win.
Also,
no one should ever apologize
here's
for a
the thing. The NHL can't afford to be picky about how it gets attention.
Yes.
Right? So this kind of reminds me of how baseball guy can be sometimes. Where it was like, oh, that was a terrible baseball game. And it's like, oh, I like pitching duels. Listen, I like pitching duels too. You know what's more fun? Home runs. You know what's more fun? Tons of base runners. You know what was more fun? Gorilla Ball was more fun. Right? The 2010 and 11 South Carolina teams, not as much fun as 96 LSU. All right? That's just how it is.
Yep.
And I don't care. And I back then especially, I was a baseball guy. And you know what I loved? Gorilla Ball. It was the best. So when you have a sport like the NHL that is not exactly on the top of everyone's mind, especially this time of year, how many people until they got on Twitter even knew there was a game last night? Probably a lot if you're not a diehard hockey fan. So when you're bringing in an audience that is not normally watching your product, you cannot complain about how that happens. And you get this in soccer sometimes too, where you have the gatekeepers, the guy that's been a fan his whole life. And it's like, well, you dumb Americans don't even understand soccer. And it's like, no, but I'm watching your stupid game, which is better for you. So relax. Okay. That's where the NHL was last night. Don't get mad about the thing that brought people into your sport. I don't understand. Yep. They're like people that find the indie band that don't want them to get big and then get mad at them when they sign a big record deal. It's like, you supposedly support these people, this thing, and then you get mad when they succeed? That doesn't make any sense. And listen, I get that it was not traditional hockey in the sense of, goals are a scarcity and everything like that. But it was super fun to watch, and it kept people's attention in a way that most hockey games do not if you're not a diehard. And I guarantee you that whatever ratings they got last night were enormous compared to what they normally get for a conference finals game one.
And most hockey fans are very welcoming,
which is terrific.
They want you to watch their sport. They want you to cover their sport. They want to tell you about their sport. And that not only is with the fan base, it's also with players. They're very humble. They understand, where the pecking order is, especially in this country when it comes to hockey.
Yeah.
And they want as many people. They don't want to turn people away. They want as many people in. Now, I just hope people don't expect 8-6 every night. That was different. But the skill that you saw is what those two teams have. And that's what I keep saying is you need two superstars to open the door. And then once you come in and go, okay, I'm going to be looking for McKinnon and McDavid. Now what else do I got? You go, wow, you know what? I haven't watched a lot of this sport, and now I'm watching it the best time of the year for the sport. I love it. I'm sticking around.
Well, yeah, first of all, playoff hockey is terrific. It always has been, right? That's probably, it's the only time of year I consistently watch any hockey, right? Because it overlaps with basketball a lot.
Not alone.
It doesn't happen. So playoff hockey, always terrific. Pretty consistently one of the best postseasons that you're going to get. What I really liked about last night was, yes, you had the, forgive the pun here, avalanche of goals.
You had a controversial goal.
But then toward the, I would say the last half of the third period, there wasn't hard. I don't think Edmonton might have got one in the last 10 minutes. I'm trying to remember when the sixth goal came. But you just had really high drama that showed you kind of what a normal hockey game is, where a team is really, really pressing. Because that drama that you had in the last half of the third period would have been the same whether it was 3-2 or 7-6, the way it was, right?
Yep.
You have Edmonton really pressing, really trying to get that goal. Colorado is turning them away with every shot. That was really good, dramatic playoff hockey. And it didn't matter that the score was 7-6 at that point. It could have been 1-0, 3-2, whatever, a more traditional hockey score. But you got a taste of the drama and tension of playoff hockey. And I think that, as much as anything, will bring people back.
Kevin Allen is actually going to join us coming up at 8 to discuss what happened last night, and also ahead of Game 1 between Tampa Bay and the Rangers. Something you just said.
By the way, I didn't say I wasn't a fan of an 8-6 game. That was an entertaining game. I just wasn't a fan. As a fan of one of the teams playing, it was very draining and it was very emotional, and it was quick and it was fast, and it was just an up, down, up, down, up, down. Because one would score, then the other one would score, and back and forth, and then by the end, in the last couple of minutes, with the open netters there, it was very tasking and very draining. That would have been.
Imagine if you would just stick as a Red Wing fan. You would have just watched it as a hockey fan last night.
That would have been that would have been a super entertaining game if it would have been like a Saturday in February, where that was just on, and it was just a regular season game. So I don't necessarily prefer that as a fan of one of the teams in the playoffs, especially the first game that they haven't been in for 20 years, the Western Conference Finals. So I'm not saying I'm not a fan of an 8-6 game. I'm just saying, as a fan of one of the teams playing, it was just super
Emotionally
tasking.
exhausting.
It was.
I'm surprised you're here today, Shane.
Well, I was late
I mean,
coming in.
Did you get any sleep at all? Fortunately, the game started at 7:00 Central.
Right. And I got over at 10, but still, I mean, it's not like you just go, you know what, I'm just going to go to bed right after.
You didn't shut her down?
Especially,
you have to go outside and walk the dog or run a couple of laps or something?
I should have, yeah.
Especially when the adrenaline's running that high, right?
Yeah.
I can understand what you're saying. If I was a fan of
Did you do a lot of vaping during the game last night? A little nervous, a little pacing?
I did a lot of pacing, yes.
Well, there's a certain kind of vape that would help you relax and a certain kind of vape that might amp you up a little bit more. So you got to be careful there. But if I was a fan of one of those two teams, it would have been really stressful. As an unbiased observer, it was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It was just fantastic.
I could find that lone Edmonton Oilers fan in Omaha and go, man, what a postseason for you. You guys have scored the most goals and you've given up the most goals. What great for you. Something you just said brought up triggered a thought that once happened to me. Where you don't want it to get so big so that it's just so many people are watching and it pushes you, the diehard, out.
Sure.
When I was in minor league baseball, and we didn't draw, there were a couple of years we didn't draw very well. And I had a season ticket holder who was very concerned if the team got good and we did a good job of selling tickets, that there would be more people at the ballpark and he wouldn't be able to spread out.
Yeah, that's probably not a great attitude.
But have you've had to hear that before?
Oh, everybody knows that. That guy.
Okay, hey,
or gal.
I'm okay with, like, for example, go to Cubs games. I'm okay with the Cubs, and I'm not saying this, but I'm using this as an example. Is, man, you know what? When the Cubs were really, really good, man, it was tight sitting in my seat because there were people on the left or right of me.
Yeah.
Now that the Cubs are bad, I'm still here, and you know what? It's almost better because there's not as many people here.
I mean, it can be a better viewing experience, but your team sucks.
But that idea is out there.
Oh, it 100% is.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's not always for that reason. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a selfish, I want to be able to spread out. I want it to be easier to buy tickets. I want it to be cheaper, whatever. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's a weird self-righteous, you don't deserve to like this thing because you didn't know about it soon enough.
Yeah.
Which is idiotic. Because first of all, I love it when things that I was an early adopter on blow up because it means I was right.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I like more than anything?
You like to be right.
Being right.
Gosh, everybody sits in that chair says the same thing.
So you don't go for you don't think that maybe having the more fans there, I mean,
So I'll give an example in this discussion. And I'm gonna be totally honest here.
Okay.
At times I've had Chiefs season tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't now. I can't make that commitment. Now I've split season tickets before, but one of the first thoughts after they played in the AFC Championship game where they lost to the Patriots is, oh boy, now tickets are going to be a little bit more difficult to get. And then after they won the next year in the AFC Championship, I thought, man, this is going to be a chore because you could get tickets pretty easily.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I mean, what's going to happen to me? I'm able to get these tickets pretty easy. I don't have to pay that much above face value. Oh yeah, I thought about that right away. It happens,
which I understand.
But a full stadium to me is better than me having my own section.
Yes, because
or my own row.
I mean, listen, there's a pragmatic part of it where you're like, yeah, I want to have cheaper tickets. I want to have maybe a more comfortable experience, but I don't understand it from the standpoint of the environment suffers, right? If you don't have a good product and nobody's there, I mean, that's half the fun. If I want space and affordability, I'll watch that thing at home.
Mm-hmm.
I've got plenty of space. It's very affordable to watch it on my TV.
Well, and
it's usually a better view, right?
Yeah, more people are making that decision.
But the environment is the thing you go for. That's the thing that separates and is better in person than it is at your house.
Yep.
Because let's be honest, at this point, your television is a much better viewing experience than being there in person. But the environment is the thing that can't be matched. So I don't understand the people that are like, oh, I just want to be able to spread out. And it's like, well, why are you paying for that? You have a couch at home.
Well,
spread out on the couch.
So another added to this, I agree. More eyeballs, more butts and seats is always better for the people that are running the show or the people that are going. I'm kind of hearing this a little bit about Top Gun this past weekend, which might be we might be back. We got a blockbuster. Okay, $150+ million. First time Tom Cruise ever had $100 million weekend. He might actually be a true Hollywood movie star. I mean, we might have one of those.
Yeah.
And what Tom Cruise has been able to do is people that have already gone back to the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has gone back because people can watch it at home. They're like, oh boy, here goes my experience, because I used to be able to stretch out on the Barca Lounger that is in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, you mean people are going to be coming back to the movie? That's going to screw me. Keep pushing the narrative that there's no popcorn and candy. We have a shortage. You don't want to come because I want my seats and I want to be able to recline and reach out and have a seat for my jacket, have a seat for my purse, and then be able to just lounge and not have to worry about people around me.
So I understand the movie thing a little more than I do the sports thing, because the atmosphere of a movie theater is not necessarily enhanced by it being packed, right? There's not a lot of cheering most of the time. Every once in a while, you'll get a movie where somebody cheers midway, like Avengers Endgame, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Captain America picks up Thor's hammer, there was an audible cheer in the theater I was in, right? And it was pretty cool. Like, that was a pretty cool moment.
That's so rare nowadays. You're right. Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's so rare that I don't lose much by being in an empty theater. There's more to gain by being in an empty theater with the comfortability and everything like that than there is to gain from the atmosphere of a crowded theater. Plus, there is like a little bit of awkwardness with the reclining seats now, where you're basically laying next to a stranger, which is like a little weird.
It can be, especially in that setting.
Right? You know what I mean? It's dark.
No
People are just like laying down. If they don't have real good boundaries of where the armrests are and things, it could get a little weird. So I understand the movie theater a little bit more. A little bit.
Sadi says on Twitter, as an Angels fan, I hate it when KC was good. Tickets were way more expensive. I didn't take the trip down for those years.
Yeah, because he's an Angels fan.
There might be more people that go from here now because the Royals are
subpar,
that are able to get tickets.
That's where I used to go see. I'd go see the Red Sox in Kansas City all the time, which was still a harder ticket to get, because Boston has such a big fan base, even when Kansas City was trash and then became trash again. But I used to go down, at least once every couple of years to go see the Red Sox down there.
Carlos Santana does not agree with you. Cal Eldred does not agree with you.
Cal Eldred.
Sharp betting in the morning. Robbie is in for Damon on this Wednesday morning. It is the first day of June. Wow. We're the first 5 months of this year.
Snuck up on us a little bit there.
The lineup brought to you by the Roofery's of John Higgins Weather Guard. Kevin Allen, as I mentioned, who covers hockey and does it really, really well for Hockey Buzz, is coming up at 8. Kevin, in his spare time, covers the Red Wings more than any other team.
Does he also cover the Avs?
Well,
just for fun.
One time he was covering a Detroit-Colorado game at then the Pepsi Center in downtown Denver. He loved the atmosphere so much, he became an Avs fan.
Oh.
So him and Shane share a
He enjoyed
bond.
the product.
Yes.
Oh,
Dirk Catlin stops by at 8:30. And then Brandon Vogel at 9:40. Hail Varsity, the magazine, is unveiling the cover of their yearbook. Robbie, Brandon has every Wednesday for the last couple of weeks been giving hints on what the cover is going to be. And today they unveil it, so maybe he will unveil it on the show. Speaking of college football magazines, I'm getting intel here in the Omaha area that Lindy's has started to show up in some grocery stores and at I think it's the only Barnes & Noble that is left in this town.
Yeah, is that the one by Oakview?
Yeah.
I think that is the only one left.
So Lindy's is out, which I know Athlon will be out here soon. Let's just be honest. That industry, the transfer portal and COVID have really hurt the magazine industry when it comes to college football.
Also, just the internet.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's really so that it used to have Lindy's and Lindy's is the rare one. Is it Lindy's or Athlon that has the cheerleader section, which I always thought was really odd.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think it's Lindy's.
It's a weird move, though.
So you had Lindy's, Athlon, Sporting News would put out a magazine.
Phil Steele.
Now I'm keeping that one.
Oh, you're keeping that one? Okay.
And then you would have Huskers Illustrated used to put out a preview, and then Hale Varsity has been doing their yearbook. But that whole industry, when it comes to the college football preview magazine, has been pushed aside by one guy and his magazine because Phil Steele handles it the right way. He's now waits. He got burned. He tells the story. I think it was Russell Wilson who transferred late to Wisconsin, and it screwed up his prediction.
Sure, of course.
Because I think back in 2011, he had Wisconsin maybe 4th.
Sure.
And it went to print. Russell Wilson transfers to Wisconsin, and he learned his lesson. So he has pushed his release date further back, and he's gone even more because I don't think it's until the end of June or around the 4th of July this year that Phil Steele releases his magazine.
Yeah.
But in that world, he has taken over, and it's the Bible.
Oh,
it is
he
the Bible.
dominates. Yeah.
Now, our good friend Brett Ciancia at Pick Six Previews does one online. Some are doing online.
Yeah.
But Phil Steele in that world is dominating. So when that comes out, call me up. Let me have a text message, and I will go and purchase the Bible of college football.
So I've never looked online for this. Does Phil Steele have a version you can buy online?
Yes. And you actually can download that first before they start sending out copies.
So that I would be interested in because besides the obviously incredible content that Brett Ciancia puts out at Pick Six Previews, one of the huge advantages for me of the online is the quick searchability.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm looking for something, just Control F, boom, I've got it. Whereas in the in the magazine, you're just flipping through and trying. It's not that cumbersome, but it's more difficult. So there being an online version of Phil Steele that's intriguing to me. Now I'll probably still get Pick Six Previews because I love it, but I might consider getting both if I can get online for Phil Steele. Plus, then you can update it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you don't have the, I understand it's a magazine, so he wants the hard copy and everything. But with the online edition, and if you've purchased a magazine, I don't know if you get like a code or something that you can do to get the online edition. But then he can constantly update it. So if something weird happens, you get a training camp injury, something like that, then you don't have it such etched in stone like Wisconsin 4th when Russell Wilson goes and transfers there.
All I know about the Lindy's one is Ramir Johnson's on the cover. Nebraska's picked 4th. But what is the, like from Nebraska's perspective, is O'Shawn Mathis in part of the Nebraska preview? Those preview magazines have such a early deadline.
Oh, yeah, to get to print and everything?
That sometimes you're writing capsules for a team and they're not even halfway through spring football.
That's the thing is your basic.
That's why Phil still is doing it right.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, I bet he would push it back further if he could. Like to first week of August almost. Because you want to get as much information in as humanly possible before sending that thing to print. But yeah, you're right. At the timing that these early ones come out, not everyone's done with spring football by the time you have to send that thing out. And as we know, after spring football is kind of another purge of transfers, right? So that's a problem. If you can't wait for that to happen, your magazine is just not going to be very good.
Like I pick up Lindy's, and we're using Lindy's because we think that's the first one that's out. I've seen a picture of it here in Omaha. Does that have? I mean, what's their USC capsule look like? Is Caleb Williams in it?
Is Jordan Addison in it?
Jordan Addison certainly is not,
right?
But he'll be in Phil Steele's.
100%.
Yeah. So it is almost college football magazine season. The other thing, I'll give credit to Phil, and Phil is on everybody's show, and he puts in so much work into that. He likes to be right about his predictions, where I think some of these other magazines, like a Lindy's and an Athlon, they're like, yeah, okay. If we're wrong, we're wrong.
Yeah.
Like you'll hear Brett. When we have Brett on every Friday, and you talk to him, Ravi, is he takes his predictions very seriously.
Yes.
And he follows them through the year. And at the end of the year, if he's wrong, he's like really disappointed. Phil Steele is the same way. Thus, that helps your relationship with the reader. They trust you.
100%.
Why are you buying a Lindy's and an Athlon? Are you just, hey, I got the college football fix. I want something. I want to get it going.
Well, to me, it's one of those things where if you can't be the best, which it seems as though everyone besides Phil Steele in terms of the hard copy, because I put Brett in a different category, but in terms of the hard copy, anybody besides Phil Steele has to basically be resigned that they're not going to be the best magazine. So if you're not going to be the best, you better be the first, because you do have a certain type of college football fan that is desperate for the season to get here, right? I think we know a few around town maybe, but they're so desperate for college football that if they can get their hands on a preview magazine on like Memorial Day, they're going to.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah, because they go on vacation and you got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can't be best, you might as well be first. And I think that's kind of where the Lindy's Athlon crowd falls in, where they're like, we better be elite at something, and if we can just be elite at being early.
It had Wisconsin, Iowa, Purdue, Nebraska, and Lindy's are the West. Ramir Johnson's on the cover. Luke Reimer, second team All Big Ten. Garrett Nelson, third team All Big Ten. Speaking of content creators and competition, we will talk about this story coming up at 7 because all of the coverage of Nebraska football has a new player. It is June 1, the worst kept secret. And I mean the worst kept secret amongst media members, fans, is On3 is here. So the entire Husker Online crew, the Rivals crew, led by Sean Callahan, Robin Washut, Brian Munson, they are all making the move to On3. It kicked off at midnight last night. That's where Steve Sipple is. He is now going to be On3. The former Rivals site, which was Husker Online, is now still Rivals, but it's rebranded. It's called Inside Nebraska. And our good friend Nate Klaus is back at Rivals on a part-time basis.
Okay.
There is, now I can tell the story. This has been building for, well, ever since last fall. It is quite the journey to today. But the content competition
it's ramping
has
up.
increased now because you have On3. You still have Husker Online.
Yep.
You still have our good friends at Husker 24/7 who have made major inroads.
Yep.
And you've got Hail Varsity.
Yeah.
Which is the only one that has a true magazine, but they are an online.
Yeah.
So the content competition is going to be ramped up.
It's ratcheting it up a little bit.
We're going to talk in the next hour. So I'm going to tell you the backstory because I'm part of this story. It's not just Nebraska. It is Creighton and the competition for online. You know, what people want that sets you apart. Is it your board?
Yeah.
Is it your recruiting information? Is it your, I don't know. We don't really break a lot of stories around here. We just don't.
No.
We just don't. We're going to get into that coming up in the next hour. So good lineup with all of you. You're always welcome to join the conversation, 951-1620. You can email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com. You have a...
Still don't have an email.
Shane. Shane?
It's gonna rain.
No, it ain't raining emails for Robin. And I don't want to give out your personal email because...
No. The people are going to find me on Twitter.
Yes.
At R.A. Lula.
Lua.
Yeah. It's
right.
the first initials, R.A.
At Gary Sharp 1620. That's in the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Plus, Shane, it's giveaway day. Tell our lovely audience what we have to give away if they like pizza.
I like pizza.
I like turtles.
I like turtles.
Shane is now sifting through the book.
Is it
Frank's Pizzeria?
Is it Frank's? I think it's Frank's.
Yes,
is what
Frank's
it says
Pizzeria,
on the.
Which they have a new location over in Ralston.
Where's the old location?
The old location is still there. They just have a new location.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, an additional location.
Additional. There we go.
We have $40 gift vouchers to Frank's Pizza to give away today.
You ever been to Frank's Pizza?
I have not. I've been to Fred's, but I haven't been to Frank's.
Fred and Frank are different.
Wait, Big Fred's or just Fred's? Is there just a regular Fred's?
Big Fred's.
Okay.
Fred's.
I was like, I'm pretty familiar with pizza. I was unfamiliar with the just Fred's.
But Frank's is what we're giving away. So
yes.
That's the good stuff today.
I mean, we got a Mama, we got a Paisan, we got a Frank's, we've got a Big Fred's. Fred's would be...
We do have some Papas. We got two Papas. We got Murphy's and John's.
Yes. We have a Cops. Fred's Pizza would be the disgruntled employee at Big Fred's that broke away and they started their own pizza and stole all the recipes.
Yeah, it'd be Bigger Fred's.
Don't want to be associated with Big Fred.
Big Fredericks.
Yes. All right, 6:41. We're off and running on this glorious Wednesday morning. The weather is really, really nice here on the first day of June on 1620 The Zone.
Looking for options, 42 degrees has got you covered. So much more than you maybe think it is. I kind of stopped in on a recommendation from a couple of friends that were saying, hey, listen, you're looking to create some better days. You need to stop out and see the fine folks at 42 degrees. So many things to choose from. The sales staff, educated and friendly. I have a lot of questions. They had a lot of knowledge. I'm not one of those folks that enjoys prescriptions and things like that. So I'm always looking for natural alternatives. 42 degrees has played a big role in that. From my CLAs to the cognitives to the immune boosts, I'm enjoying feeling a lot better than I did before 42 degrees. That can be you too. They've even got great stuff for your pets as well. After all, it's man's best friend. So from gluten-free to vegan to health and wellness, 42 degrees has got you covered. Great locations all over the place, right by your mom's house. It's 42 degrees. Make sure you tell them Damon sent you.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
What's more likely to happen? A human winning the horse racing Triple Crown or a horse winning the baseball Triple Crown?
It's the human winning the horse Triple Crown.
Has to be, right?
Because the horse has no opposable thumbs. How are they going to pitch? How are they going to hit?
Yeah, dumbass horses. Then they'll probably just start walking them all. That's fine. We're walking the horse. I guess that you can't win the Triple Crown getting walked all the time.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Increasing cloud coverage and also a small chance of showers primarily after your lunchtime hours. What we're going to be tracking for your Wednesday. Temperatures only rising into the lower 70s and upper 60s. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a morning low of 50 degrees for early Thursday morning. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From LeBurton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More, time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report, but you can expect some major slowdown along eastbound I-80 near 84th Street due to some construction. Then along Industrial Road, be prepared for some major slowdowns near 149th. And along Highway 370, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near Gold Coast Road. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Hey everyone, it's John with Saul's. Great jewelry is always in fashion, and we have it all at Saul's. From diamond bracelets to rings to earrings and those one-of-a-kind gold pieces that you can't find anywhere else, and so much more. Smart shoppers start here at Saul's.
Accidents are stressful enough without having to navigate the claims process on your own. This is Darcy with Dingman's Collision Center. Don't be misinformed by others about your legal right to choose your shop. Having a certified repair facility working in your best interest is the only way to trust you receive the safe, proper repairs you deserve. Remember, it's your vehicle, your safety, and it's always your choice. Dingman's is your choice if you are looking for a certified shop that puts the vehicle owner first. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Dingmans.com.
Join Blur Parties at Hilton Omaha this June as we host a premier college baseball championship tailgate. Experience an all-inclusive full bar and buffet, TV, music, and a variety of tailgate games. Book a corporate tailgate event or just hang out with friends. The best part is we're located on the south side of Charles Schwab Field at the Hilton Omaha. Visit blurparties.com to buy tickets or to find out about sponsorship opportunities. That's blurparties.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we designed the Ford trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 45 years straight. Made for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't designed for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
Swings in near side for Taves up the middle. McKinnon in space. McKinnon tries to tap it, and he does! McKinnon! My goodness gracious! Nathan McKinnon, the Ooze and the Oz, and the Avalanche with a 2-1 lead.
Shane was right yesterday. The radio broadcast on Altitude is really, really good for the Avs. Their TV broadcast is really good as well. Nathan McKinnon is really, really good. He's in Joe Sakic category in terms of playoff prowess in the Mile High City, as Colorado beat Edmonton last night by a score of 8-6. Yes, 8-6. The ball was carrying at Coors Field last night.
It's that thin air in Colorado.
Maybe I wasn't right because the radio broadcast, and I was thinking about this last night.
Boy.
It's like you go through this game where it's like score, and then you're like, oh, thank God it's intermission. And then they come on and they do all the scores over again. So it's like a nonstop. And they do a great job at it. But it's like, I don't know. Sometimes you need a little bit of a break. And last night there wasn't really a break last night. There was only like that 8-9 minutes in the third where there wasn't really something going on to where there was a break. I don't know. It felt like I was playing the game myself. Could you imagine me out there on skates?
Yeah, but that's why the NHL video games are more popular than the NHL, because it's constant scoring and people love it.
It's just nonstop action.
Yeah, I mean, there's the better you get, and if you're playing online and stuff, you get different skill levels, obviously.
Mhm.
But the fact is, it's a little bit more higher paced game, and usually they shorten the quarter, so you're not playing a video game for an hour straight here. You're usually playing like 5-7 minute quarter or period, something like that. But the pace is similar to what we saw last night, and that's why people like it. That's why people like the FIFA soccer games,
Mhm.
because the pace is faster than real life, and you get at least somewhat of a flow of scoring versus what can be longer periods of, it's not inactivity in hockey for sure, but in terms of just from a scoring standpoint, there's longer periods of inactivity.
So there were expected things that happened yesterday, and then there's some unexpected. Expected that Steven _Sipple was going to join the On3 crew, that is essentially
I'm
Rivals
shocked.
crew.
Shocked.
Hey, he texted me. So when
I thought he
when
had announced it like 2 weeks
well,
ago.
so when it kind of got out, but it was shortly after he. Well, it was before he actually stepped down at the Journal-Star.
Yeah,
We had him on, and so I knew where he was going.
yeah.
You know what? Maybe the day after he had announced that he was leaving the Journal-Star, and so he closed with "Sip, onward and upward." He texted me back and he goes, "Hey, hey." Expected.
At least you weren't like, Sip, let's close this out on 3. 1, 2, 3, Sip.
Gosh, how come I didn't think of that? Expected that Trey McGowan's was going to stay in the NBA draft. He made that official yesterday.
Yeah.
Today's the day. We're going to find out who's staying and who is coming back to college. Notice that Kerwin Walton pulled his name out of the draft. Kerwin Walton is probably an Omaha if Baylor Shireman stays in the draft.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. The Minneapolis product who went to North Carolina and then left North Carolina.
I was told with some authority, off the record, of course, and unofficial, but my understanding was that Creighton was pretty open with Kerwin Walton, and that he was kind of waiting out the Baylor Shireman situation to see if he could come to Creighton. The other thing was I don't think Kerwin Walton ever was going to stay in the draft. From my understanding, it was a very clear get feedback, figure out what my game needs for the pro level, and then not only make my decision on how to improve my game, but also make my decision on where I need to go based on that. So I'm not surprised at all for Kerwin Walton to pull his name out. But yeah, I think you're right. If Baylor Shireman stays in the draft, Kerwin Walton's in Omaha.
I mean, there was a point where I thought, man, with the NIL and having guys not be on scholarship, but still basically having school paid for them, could you have both of those guys?
Well, there was a moment there where it was unclear if maybe another guy would leave, a guy that maybe wasn't going to get a ton of minutes or something like that. And you probably would have, if that was the case, if anyone else left. I don't think they're going to ask two guys not to go on scholarship, but if anyone else left, I think Kerwin Walton is probably in Omaha with Baylor Shireman.
So Trey McGowan's, he stays in the draft, but essentially he stays to be a pro, and that was expected.
Yeah, he's not going to get drafted.
Yeah, he's there. He wants to go be a pro.
He could get a G League. I don't know if that's what he would choose, because there's often more money elsewhere. But for a lot of guys, the G League is the most direct path to the NBA. Which I'll give the NBA credit for, because even 10 years ago, when it was, I think, still the D League, there was very little movement between.
Yeah, they still treat it like the CBA.
Yes, right. There was almost no movement between the two. Now you see, teams like Golden State, they send Jordan Poole down there to get some reps, and look how he comes back. They send Moses Moody down there to get some reps, and all of a sudden he's playing in a conference finals and acting like he's
still crazy.
Been there for 3 years. That Kuminga came out of there straight from high school, spent some time in the G League. So they've done a terrific job of using the G League the way a minor league should be used, as development, getting guys time, things like that. And so I think it's becoming a more and more viable option for guys to say, yeah, I can work my way through the G League. That's not for a while, it was like a death sentence.
Yes.
Your career went to die in the G League or the D League at the time. So if you wanted to make money, you went to Europe, and maybe if you were really good in Europe, you'd make it back to the NBA. But now the G League is the most viable option to get to the league outside of getting drafted.
And fully expected that Trey McGowan's was not coming back to Nebraska. So he plays 2 years. And for Nebraska, they have roster clarity. They're at 13. Mayen is going pro. McGowan's is going pro. So all of that stuff
Both
that was
McGowan's,
expected.
of course, but
everything was expected.
Yeah.
So they're at their limit for a roster. Nebraska basketball is done. Nebraska football is done as well, because Taylor Lewis, the junior college defensive tackle, committed to Arkansas yesterday. He wasn't going to visit this weekend. But the Trey McGowan's, we've spent plenty of time, Damon and myself, and even you, Robbie, talking about the Bryce McGowan's legacy. The Trey McGowan's run of a guy that I think universally well-liked.
Yeah.
You knew the importance. You saw how important he was when he got hurt in the Creighton game last year and didn't come back for a while with that foot injury. But he started 48 of 49 games. There's some deficiencies in his game, but it appeared that he was a really good teammate. He played good defense when you needed it.
Yeah.
You probably, for 2 years, you got 9 points a game out of him. Would you like more? But I think they got as much as they could out of Trey McGowan.
I don't know how much more you could have expected out of Trey McGowan's. He is who he is as a player. Now, I will say, I wouldn't be shocked if he works his way into the league, because he fits an athletic profile of somebody who, with professional coaching, professional development, I'm not saying he will, but if I see him on a roster someday, I'm not going to be blown away, because he has the athletic profile of somebody that NBA teams like. Obviously, Bryce is going to get drafted, but I would not be shocked at all to see Trey McGowan's on an NBA roster at some point. And that's not because he was so outstanding at Nebraska or anything like that, but
all it takes is one team.
All it takes is one team
and one door to open for you with an injury, or the team that you're on.
Sure.
That has, your Detroit and Houston. They had a revolving roster when you get to the last 25 games of the year.
You get after the All-Star break with teams that aren't in contention, and they're obviously trying to not win a ton of games, but B, they also want to just get flyers on guys. Be like, hey, we kind of liked him. Let's see what he looks like. Houston did it with Kyrie Thomas a couple years ago. You just kind of
got paid off of it.
Yeah, you just kind of get glimpses of guys to see, okay, what can they do at this level with an opportunity? And listen, the deficiencies in Trey McGowan's game aren't unfixable, right? You clean the jumper up a little bit, you tighten the handle a little bit, and all of a sudden you've got kind of a combo guard with some scoring upside. Again, will he ever get there? I don't know, but I can understand if somebody is like, yeah, let's stash him on a D-League roster and see what happens.
He's going to play hard. And he's not going to cause problems.
100%, yeah.
All right, 6:57. Coming up a little bit later, Kevin Allen will join us, Dirk Chatlin, Brandon Vogel as well. Your chance to win a $40 voucher to Frank's Pizzeria as part of Sharp Betting in the Morning. Ravi is in for Damon on this Wednesday morning. A little bit later, we're going to talk a little baseball because what does it mean to be in first place on the 1st of June? Half of the teams usually make the postseason.
That are in first place on June?
59% of the teams that are in first place on June 1 make the postseason since 96.
Because we're how many games in
About
are
50.
we? I was going to say, we're about a third of the way in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that makes sense. That's usually a big enough sample size that unless something happens, you're more or less who you're going to be.
I saw in Fangraphs this morning because the Mets thumped Washington again last night. They have a 96% chance to win the NL East. They have a 10.5 game lead on June 1.
I would say they're up an insane amount for being 50 games in.
Mm-hmm. The Braves haven't shown up. The Phillies have defensive flaws and might have Joe Girardi get fired. But keep this in mind, though. Maybe we're not looking at it the right way on who's on top. Because remember about the first 50 games when Washington won the World Series? Weren't they 19-31? Remember what the Braves were? Weren't the Braves 2 games under 500 through 50 last year?
Yeah, they weren't very good, which gives me hope for my Red Sox, who look like trash most of the time, but they're still kind of hovering around 500.
Yes.
Which it took like a 7-game winning streak to get to hover around 500, but I'll take it.
And it took bashing the White Sox to help that run differential as well.
I always appreciate White Sox bashing.
That's Ravi. I'm Gary. There's Shane. Sharp Betting in the Morning at 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley, you need to visit. They've got all your vehicle needs. You can shop the inventory in store or online at woodhousegm.com. Whether it's a car, a truck, an SUV, new or certified pre-owned, experience the Woodhouse difference and shop with confidence at Woodhouse Chevy today. The sales staff, educated, friendly, eager to help. They're not only going to meet your expectations, they're going to exceed your expectations. It's just what they do. Timely and responsive sales team, they'll take good care of you. They're committed to the customers even after the sale has been complete. The cool thing is when you ask as many questions as I do, they're always considerate of my time, quick, efficient. They even kind of make the purchasing experience pleasant. Smart and fair pricing is something that you got to take advantage of when it comes to shopping at Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley. From cars to trucks to SUVs, do what I did. Schedule a test drive today. And remember, at Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley, Iowa, find new roads.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why are we experts in total pest control? Because what good is a beautiful lawn if bugs and pests keep you from going out and enjoying it? This is Chuck Monaco with CM's Outdoor, now part of the Ryan Lawn and Tree family. Our CM's and Ryan Pros are known as the very best at getting rid of the nasty critters that enjoy chewing on your lawn, shrubs, and trees. So it only makes sense that we would also eliminate those annoying pests that see you as a tasty snack. Introducing Pest Guard Plus. We've combined our 4 most popular home pest control services into one year-round program. It includes keeping bugs out of your home, flea and tick control, mosquito, and rodent control. Pest Guard Plus keeps pests out of your home and out of your yard, so you can enjoy summer indoors and out. Visit bestomahalawn.com to learn more and receive a free estimate. Sign up now for Pest Guard Plus, and your first application is free. Enjoy a pest-free summer with PestGuard Plus at bestomahaLawn.com. That's bestomahaLawn.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Having an issue with ED might begin in the bedroom, but it doesn't end there. It can also do a number on your confidence. But know this, you're not alone. 30 million guys deal with ED in the U.S. Fortunately, treating ED is now more straightforward and less awkward than ever, thanks to Hims. Through Hims, you can get the generic form of Viagra, which uses the same active ingredient for just $3 per use. Just go to 4hims.com and chat with a medical provider online, and if appropriate, you'll be prescribed the ED medication that's best for you. And it'll be shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Simple. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. Get your confidence back at 4hims.com. Love your results or your money back.
To get started today, go to forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free visit. forhims.com/radio.
At Athletico Physical Therapy, our favorite patients are the ones who just can't and won't wait because they don't have to. So get a little impatient and schedule your free assessment at athletico.com.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
I'm not going very far.
It's too uncomfortable.
I'm in a hurry. Sometimes I just forget.
There's no such thing as a good excuse for not buckling up. You're not only putting yourself at risk of injury or death, it could also cost you lots of money. Cops are writing tickets, so why take the risk? Do the smart thing and start buckling up every trip, day or night. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
Robbie, I know you like good things. I know you like shows on Netflix. I know you like comedy. If you have not, I highly recommend Norm Macdonald.
Oh, his
on
special?
Netflix.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. So he shot a secret final Netflix stand-up before he passed away.
Yeah.
And it's his final hour. It was agreed that they would release it after his death. That was somebody who probably at the time we thought, man, that is a comedic genius. But it's kind of even more post-death.
Yeah.
I highly recommend anybody that is a fan of good comedy.
I love
and
stand-up.
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
Yes, he this is fantastic.
So
Unbelievable.
Norm Macdonald is just a little before I started getting into stand-up. But I love good stand-up. I've seen a lot of his clips. I don't know that I've ever watched a full hour of him, but I'll definitely check it out. I watch most of the specials that come out on Netflix.
Doesn't it seem like stand-up comedy's coming back?
Yeah, I think honestly, Netflix has been a big part of that.
I think TikTok has as well.
Yes. I actually went to see a comic in Omaha that I found on TikTok. I thought he was super funny. He just randomly popped up on my For You page. And so I checked out his website and he was coming to Omaha and I was like, yeah, why not? Let's go. I went and had a good time. Like I really enjoy stand-up comedy.
And this is a town. I mean, look at this. I think, if I'm correct, this was Omaha's one of the original locations of the Funny Bone.
Oh, is it?
And the enormous amount of talent that has rolled through there.
Yeah, that's
a good stand-up town.
That venue gets really good names. I mean, they get pretty big people especially considering the size of the venue. They get people that also do like full theater shows, not stadium shows, but kind of what's like the Holland Center, that type of size of venue. A lot of the people that come to the Funny Bone regularly book that size of venue. And obviously the Funny Bone is not that in terms of capacity, but they get really good names in there. It's a good venue. I've enjoyed all the experiences I had there.
And comedians like coming through Omaha, they probably don't get heckled as much, like Chelsea Handler. And, she had a great show at the Holland. And then Kevin Hart is coming back, I see.
Well, yeah, I think Omaha is a
Amy
nice.
Schumer had a huge show at the Chai.
Yeah,
Omaha.
for sure. Well, and it's nice because it's a stop kind of as you're going through from Chicago to Denver. Basically, it's a nice stop, so you don't have to have 16 hours on a bus or on a plane or however you're going there. And like you said, it's a good stand-up town. I think people here are you get the Nebraska nice cliche or whatever. I don't think you get a lot of hecklers here. And people, it's pretty easy to make people laugh here. I mean, some people think we're funny, so that's got to be something.
People think our new license plate is funny. Wow, what was that?
I thought we were conservative here. It's a little racy for my taste.
Nip slip on your plate. Hour 2's coming next. The NBA Finals are here. They're coming up on Thursday. It is your chance to score big on FanDuel Sportsbook. Now, throughout the entire NBA Finals, FanDuel is giving new customers $200 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You could bet the money line, point spreads, player props, so much more. Currently, Golden State, about a 3.5, 4-point favorite. Latest on FanDuel for game number 1. You can combine your bets for an even bigger payday with a same-game parlay. So you could say Golden State, game 1 winner, and I will say that Curry has the most threes. You could put that together, and you could be a big winner. Just use promo code ZONE. If you haven't tried FanDuel, now is the perfect time to give it a shot because the only thing sweeter than watching the finals is cashing in on all of the action. So join today. Promo code ZONE. Turn a $5 bet into $200 in free bets, win or lose. So it feels like every time you're betting with FanDuel, it's Game 7. FanDuel, the official betting partner of the NBA. 21 over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
The Zone Traffic.
From Liberton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More, time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report, but you can expect some major slowdown along eastbound I-80 near 84th Street due to some construction. Then along Industrial Road, be prepared for some major slowdowns near 149th. And along Highway 370, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near Gold Coast Road. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Someone just won a beautiful new blue truck playing Trucks and Bucks 2022. So there are only 5 trucks left. Better slide into a Nebraska Lottery retailer, buy a ticket, and play today. Top prize odds, 1 in 336,000.
Did you know that Kentucky bluegrass isn't from Kentucky? It came from Europe. And what we call Dutch elm disease actually originated in Asia. This is Chuck Monaco with CM's Outdoor, now part of the Ryan Lawn and Tree family. And while you may know us as experts in everything lawn, trees, and landscape, you may not know that we're also experts in pest control. After all, you want to do more than just look at your beautiful lawn. You want to fully enjoy it. A certified CM's and Ryan Pest Control Pro can free your outdoor oasis from ants and spiders, fleas and ticks, rodents, mosquitoes, and more. Our home insect barrier won't let them escape inside either. And unlike other companies, our employee-owner Pest Control Pros are cross-trained in plant science to help make sure that your beautiful and livable landscape stays that way. Visit bestomahalawn.com for a free estimate. Sign up for our complete Pest Guard Plus annual program, and your first application is free. Enjoy a pest-free summer at bestomahaLawn.com.
Hi, guys. It's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Brookside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now. 402-671-7777.
These days, it's getting harder and harder to find savings. But you may have more cash than you realize in your home's equity. Unlock it today with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. That means you could unlock thousands of dollars from your home. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could get all that cash in as little as 3 weeks. Put your hard-earned money to work. Pay down high-interest debt and combine your balances into one simple, low monthly payment. Now is your perfect opportunity to take control of your financial future. So what are you waiting for? When you want to consolidate debt and simplify your finances, Rocket can. Call 8338-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. That's 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com. Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. The Equal Housing Lender, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sharpen betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are Gary Sharp and Ravi Lula.
Deep drive to left. If it's fair, it's going to leave the yard. And the Cubs have the lead. Patrick Wisdom with a long home run. Get out the tape measure. Cubs lead by a score of 8-7. All the way on to Waveland Avenue.
Now the 1-2. Swung on, drilled to right, it is high. It is far. It is gone. It's a 2-run blast in the right field seats. Carpenter nailed it. A 2-run blast, and the Yankees now take a 4-0 lead.
Yankees hammered Noah Syndergaard, who touched the money and bashed the Mets pitching staff recently. And since then, he has had an 11 ERA over his last 3 starts.
That's not good. I don't know if you don't follow baseball closely. 11 ERA is subpar.
Yeah. And the Cubs actually won a game where they trailed last night.
I have a question for you. I think you listen to more baseball on the radio than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Is every broadcaster 100 years old, or do they just sound that way on the radio?
Well, those two. So Pat Hughes is a little bit older, the voice of the Cubs, and then John Sterling is in his 80s.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you probably hear a lot of Denny Matthews.
Yeah.
Who, only basically does home games now.
Yep.
And I don't know that anybody want to do the Royals the way they're playing right now.
It's a tough beat this year.
If I posed this question to my Royals friends, and I feel your pain. And then because of where we're located, tend to watch a lot of Royals games, and I enjoy watching the Royals. You see them play here in Omaha, and then they're up in the bigs. If you could only get rid of one, what one of these would a Royal fan get rid of right now? Okay. Carlos Santana or Cal Eldred? Their first baseman or their pitching coach? Because it's pretty clear they fired Terry Bradshaw. Hitting at the time was not the major issue. Since then, they can't get anybody out of the bullpen, or they have first inning issues like they did last night, and they've been beaten in the first 2 games against Cleveland. So Carlos Santana or Cal Eldred. You can only get rid of one. And I should add, you've got a first baseman that just finished the month of May here in Omaha, Vinny Pasquantino, who hit 12 home runs in the month of May, has 15, and hit one last night out at Werner.
I think you get rid of Santana because, and you would know this better than me, how much at the major league level, how much impact does a guy like Cal Eldred have in terms of, like, I understand there is, especially with the kind of psychology of pitching and kind of putting together game plans and things like that. But aren't the Royals' problems mostly they don't have very good players?
A little bit, but they have a lot of young talent.
Sure. So in that situation, a pitching coach is more important.
Well, but here's been the issue is developing so that talent when they get to the majors, they've done something right in moving through the system to get to the majors.
Sure.
Then when they get to the majors, they've got to continue to develop, and that's been an issue. Is those young pitchers, which they've invested in heavily over the last 3-4 drafts, they haven't been able to take them to the next level when they get to the majors. And, Brady Singer appears to have turned it around for Kansas City because he found a third pitch.
Sure.
But Daniel Lynch got blasted last night. It's, Jacob Junis leaves. He goes to San Francisco. All of a sudden, he's pitching well. It's just.
So how much of that is on the pitching coach,
Well, I
though?
think in this case, there's a lot.
There is a decent amount.
Because there is a track record of trending pitchers, whether they're starters.
Sure.
Or they're in the bullpen that don't seem to get any better with Kansas City.
So they're trending up through the minors. They get to Kansas City, plateau or fall off.
Yeah,
That's the argument.
And you've got to continue to develop your pitchers,
Sure.
even though they're in the majors.
Especially
everybody's got to develop, but
especially with young guys, especially with guys that are figuring out how to pitch in the majors for the first time. Totally understand that. I'd probably still get rid of Santana. It's hard to watch every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a part of it where it's like, I don't want to have to see this every day.
Yeah, it's painful. And
especially when you've got somebody.
He still gets to hit in key situations.
Yes. Especially when you've got somebody right behind him that theoretically could be better.
I didn't think that they would be trending towards 65 to 70 wins, but right now they are. If you look at it, there's not much difference between the Cincinnati Reds and the Kansas City Royals. And that is astonishing to think about 3 weeks ago where the Reds were. And the Reds actually finished up the month of May playing pretty good ball. I know they beat your Red Sox yesterday.
Yeah. But Red Sox can't score for long stretches of time. It's fun.
Yeah. Or when they trail after the sixth inning.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think if you're the Royals and you have some pieces, I don't know essentially what you're going to get back, but you have to look at your roster and go, okay, when we get to that next championship level team, these guys are not going to be a part of it. So what can we get for Benintendi? What can we get for Merrifield? What can we get for Barlow?
Yeah, the guys that are a little bit older, they don't fit into that
Dozier
championship window, quote unquote, maybe that next group. You see that more often with basketball teams where they're trying to get everybody kind of in that same age window. But I think it happens in baseball more than people realize, where it's like, hey, this guy's going to be just a little too old. What can we get for him now that would supplement and get us more shots of guys in that window to be successful?
Yeah, I agree. That's Robbie. I'm Gary. Sharp and Betting in the Morning. Robbie is in for Damon. You can catch us on 1620 The Zone TV. Hi, everybody. Brought to you by Tickets for Less. No matter how you listen or watch, it's still AM radio. It is still a very competitive
even
market.
on YouTube.
Yes. Amazes you how many people, just random people, will watch now that we're on TV.
It's
that will send you a note. Hey, it's a nice hat, nice sweatshirt. Where can I get one?
I think YouTube would be shocked to find out that they are in fact an AM radio station.
Yeah. Hey, how come we didn't invest in YouTube long time ago?
I think so. That's a fair question,
because it was for the taking.
It's
just like Amazon was there at one point.
Everything was there at one point, right?
Yeah.
Everything was. I think the frustrating part for some people with YouTube is that it had its initial kind of surge of popularity probably close to 15 years ago now. And then there was sort of a lull when people couldn't figure out how to monetize it. And then 8 years ago-ish, people figured out how to monetize it, and then it just went through the roof. But that's been the issue with a lot of kind of technology products that weren't retailers like an Amazon is or Apple, right? Apple and Amazon are essentially retailers. They're an old business model on a new platform. The problem with some of these, this is a sports show, nobody cares about this, but this problem with like your Facebook, your Twitters, your YouTubes is that for a long time, people didn't know how to monetize social media. And YouTube figured it out. Facebook figured it out in a dirtier way, but now everybody's making money.
YouTube, by the way, is a great babysitter.
Terrific.
But there are people making a lot of money off YouTube.
Oh yeah,
and
content creators.
I'm hearing kids graduate from high school. They go, what are you going to go to college and major in? Well, nothing about going to college. I think I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a TikToker because I can make money.
Yeah. Content creation, baby.
And if you hit it big, I can't argue with you.
Yeah,
Get that college education, but you're on YouTube, you're on TikTok, and you're making more than your parents.
Yeah.
Go get that bag, son.
There's more
daughter.
There's more jobs, quote unquote, in content creation than I think anybody ever thought there would be. So, why
influencers?
Yeah, why not try? It's not just influencers though, right? Because influencers are trying to sell you something,
or they've been targeted by a company,
right? To be an ambassador or whatever. Whereas content creators are kind of different. You can be both, but a content creator, you're just providing entertainment or some kind of value to somebody. You're not necessarily trying to sell them, but because so many people watch them, you get a certain amount of revenue just for bringing people to the app.
That's what they call us.
Content creators. That's right. We bring so many people to AM radio again on 8 different platforms. Just pay those content creators, guys.
Channel 3 says, is Mike Matheny an option? Are you picking Carlos Santana or Kel Eldred to not come back from Cleveland when you open a long homestand at the K?
Just leave them on the tarmac? Lane Kiffin style?
That would be painful. You have a new owner, but you have a very loyal front office. Very, very loyal. Some people in that front office, I believe, don't think they're doing a bad job. Well, it's a results-based business, and I can pick up the standings today and look
wrong.
Worst team in baseball.
It's really hard to...
Which I can't believe.
That's the funny thing about... You're probably right. That's the funny thing, is there's probably people in the front office that think they're doing a good job. And sports is one of the very few areas in life where you can definitively see if you're doing a good job or not, and they are not.
When we come back, speaking of content creators, there's a new competitor in the Husker football, Husker athletic coverage. On3 was birthed last night. Again, Robbie and I have been saying all morning, it's one of the worst kept secrets. The entire Rivals crew, who are all friends of ours, from Sean to Robin to Brian to Mike to Greg, they are all making the move over to On3
plus Sip, and
they've hired Steve Sipple,
who I often says whether you're online, it's still it's still newspaper.
Yes, which is going to be an interesting transition for him. But so the rival site Husker Online, so that name has left.
Yeah, that's on 3 now.
That has gone to On
Yeah.
3. They are promoting it as the greatest Husker fan site. Husker Online, or Rivals, is still around. It's now called Inside Nebraska. We're glad that Nate Klaus is back.
Yeah.
Part-time role, covering recruiting. That BC, Bruns, and Schaefer do an amazing job at Husker 24/7, and they've got their niche, and they've got, a loyal following.
Yeah.
Then you have Hail Varsity. There is a lot of competition there. But is there too much competition? We will get into that because you're seeing it on your side covering Creighton.
Yeah.
There are more and more websites that are covering Creighton.
Yeah.
Athletics, not just basketball, but athletics.
Well, and the funny thing, we're talking about getting in on things before they take off, right? Is that what people are trying to do with Husker football? Because if you can get in now, and if Nebraska ever gets good again, then there's plenty of money to go around. There's plenty of money to sustain 4 sites with 4 full-time staffs and whatever. If it keeps going like this, there's probably not. But
maybe. But there's for a 3-9 football program off this past year, there's still a lot of money and a lot of interest.
There is.
Look, we have 12 hours of sports talk in the 75th market in the country.
But this is the epitome. If you're on 3, this is the epitome of buying low and trying to get in at the bottom before the elevator goes up, right? It's not a terrible idea.
We'll get into how all this came together because this has been a long process. but it adds another element to what people want with online stuff. We know what they want from us on radio, but online, Thomas had a comment earlier that these online sites live on recruiting. Thomas doesn't like recruiting. He don't like recruiting when we talk about it. He didn't like it on his sites that he goes to as well. But that's a driver. That's a driver.
I hate to break it to you. Recruiting's not going anywhere.
We're going to get into that when we come back. There's Ravi. I'm Gary Shane here as well. Sharp and Betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show.
I vow to never lose my wallet. Now, why are you so sure that you will not? I'm not going to lose my wallet. I'm walking down the street. I'm checking if I have my wallet like at all times. I'm not going to lose my wallet.
Now, lost is not stolen. Like, you're susceptible to having your wallet stolen.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay. You were also saying that.
It will also never be stolen.
Okay.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Increasing cloud coverage and also a small chance of showers primarily after your lunchtime hours. What we're going to be tracking for your Wednesday. Temperatures only rising into the lower 70s and upper 60s. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a morning low of 50 degrees for early Thursday morning. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From Liberton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More, time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report, but you can expect some major slowdown along eastbound I-80 near 84th Street due to some construction. Then along Industrial Road, be prepared for some major slowdowns near 149th. And along Highway 370, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near Gold Coast Road. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Right now, we'll open your drain line for only $93 or it's free. Call for details or request service at justcallburton.com.
1620 The Zone. Live and local, broadcasting 6A to 6P in the Host Coffee Zone studio. Host Coffee, offering office break room refreshment services to Omaha and Lincoln metro area businesses. Discover a better break room solution for your office at sales@hostcoffee.net.
We're in the most active season of the year right now, and if you have joint pain, hip pain, knee pain, maybe back pain, shoulder pain, I've got fantastic news for you. QC Kinetics is helping people here get the fun back with advanced regenerative treatments from local medical professionals. Regenerative medicine is the hottest thing going. It's basically taking growth factors with healing properties from your own body, highly concentrated, then putting them back into your aching joints. This exciting in-office non-surgical treatment can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints, giving you real lasting relief from pain. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in these cutting-edge, all-natural options, and the patient satisfaction reports are incredible. They have over 100 clinics nationwide, including right here. You can get real relief from pain with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Stop putting it off. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more about regenerative medicine and get a totally free in-office consultation. Call 402-205-4960. That's 402-205-4960.
This season, the Omaha Storm Chasers have teamed up with PayPal to present the Chasers Community Celebration Series. On Thursday, June 9th, we continue this series with Pride Night to celebrate the LGBTQ+ community. Learn more at omahastormchasers.com.
Jake and Christine knew they needed help renovating their dream home. As a Pella advisor, I make sure every step of getting new windows and doors is smooth, including setting you up with our Pella Care Guarantee. It covers everything from product to installation with some of the strongest warranties in the industry.
Get more with Pella. Let us personalize an offer just for you.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Having an issue with ED might begin in the bedroom, but it doesn't end there. It can also do a number on your confidence. But know this, you're not alone. 30 million guys deal with ED in the U.S. Fortunately, treating ED is now more straightforward and less awkward than ever, thanks to Hims. Through Hims, you can get the generic form of Viagra, which uses the same active ingredient for just $3 per use. Just go to 4hims.com and chat with a medical provider online. And if appropriate, you'll be prescribed the ED medication that's best for you. And it'll be shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Simple. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. Get your confidence back at 4hims.com. Love your results or your money back.
To get started today, go to forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free visit. forhims.com/radio.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
At Woodhouse, we make car buying simple. From test drive to purchase, we're here to help guide you to your next vehicle with no pressure sales, transparent pricing, and a streamlined purchase process to save you time. Finding the
All right, Sharp Betting in the Morning. We're here. Dustin Johnson is not with the PGA Tour, so he is not here. Going to play in London in the Live Golf event. Took the blood money, I see. Should he be admired or admonished?
Listen, blood money spends the same.
There will be more on that. Well, Dirk's coming up in about an hour. He's a big golf guy. I'll talk about DJ. The news around here today, not necessarily on the field concerning Nebraska football, even though we are June 1 and we're 87 days from the start of the season and ahead of a weekend that if you're going to make up ground in the Big Ten, you have to have weekends like Nebraska football will have with recruiting. But how we would cover Nebraska football online has changed this morning. A new product, On3, which is birthed by the person that founded Rivals, is got a Nebraska site, and it's got all of the familiar names that were on the Rivals site. And for the longest time, for a long, long time, the Rivals site, Husker Online, Red Sea Scrolls, has been quite the place, board activity. Damon is a big board guy.
Yep.
Okay, he's got a prominent role on Red Sea Scrolls. Interacting with people, the good, the bad, and the ugly, building relationships, sharing information, dissecting why certain things happen. But it is a culture that, you always hear, whenever you say message boards, like in sports, don't you think, Ravi, it's always a negative connotation? Oh my gosh, it's a cesspool.
Yeah, you get an image of your mind of people in their mother's basement typing away in the dark on little keyboard warriors, which is not a fair depiction, but I think that's what comes to a lot of people's
minds. You do have
minds.
some of those,
yes.
And I'm not, I'm not on the message boards. Damon keeps me updated, but Red Sea Scrolls is always there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there's good conversation, and there's people that become lifelong friends. They don't even they only know each other from they're on their board names.
To be clear, this is not different from Twitter, basically.
Yeah,
it's essentially just private Twitter on a specific topic, and I'll be honest, a lot of the topics get all over the place.
And I wondered when Twitter became more popular, would that take away from the message boards? Well, clearly it didn't, because there is a new product now that will be covering Nebraska football, and it's On3. Rivals is still around, and they've hired Nate Klaus. So Nate has come back. He was with Rivals. He's come back. They have now rebranded as Inside Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Husker 24/7, which has been here. It's got the Three Musketeers who do a great job. They're all friends of ours. All of these sites, by the way, have people that appear on our radio station, and we're friends with them all. I mean, this is a very, love everyone.
They're all very generous with their time to 1620.
So people are reacting this morning, because we're starting to see it as people are waking up and they're seeing a tweet from Sipple that he's got a new job and he's writing for On3, and oh my gosh, what's happened to the Rivals site. So people are now starting to realize that this happened on June 1, even though it has been well known for a long time. Because how this all went down, this actually was the plan back in the fall. Like Sean and Robin and that whole crew, they knew they were leaving last fall. So Rivals approached somebody who is very prominent in the media that covers Nebraska football with a plan to take over the site, to be a publisher of the Rivals site.
Okay.
Be involved in the site.
Yeah.
Be on the boards, cover recruiting, cover games, all
Like
of that kind of stuff.
General manager, basically. Yeah.
So that's when I first heard about it.
Yeah.
Because they asked my opinion. I was like, whoa. So we talked it through. And eventually this person who has a really good job and has a lot of other things going on said I couldn't do it. So then they started to scramble. I'm surprised you didn't get asked, Robbie, because then the Rivals folks started to go through media people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too long ago that they thought they had a done deal with a local newspaper writer that covers Nebraska athletics. They thought they had a deal to bring them on board to be essentially the publisher and writer of the new Rivals site. So that fell through. So your boy over here about 3 weeks ago got a phone call. A really good friend of mine from our days in Florida is one of the higher ups at Rivals. And he called me up and he said, hey, he goes, you may not have heard. And I go, stop. I go, I know it all. And I said, am I the 8th or 9th person that you've called? He goes, that's beside the point. Let me tell you how much money you're going to make. And I'm like, gonna make? I haven't even, no. I go, I got no time for this. I got a lot of things that are going on right now. He goes, but let me tell you. He goes, you can be the publisher. You hire writers. We want you to run the Rivals site, blah, blah, blah. He told me the whole financials, how it works, subscribers, your community, just on and on.
The whole deal.
Yeah. And I finally said, Woody, what makes you think that I would want to do this or can do this? He goes, all you got to do is be a publisher. You just got to kind of watch. And I'm like, no. So I think I was the 9th person that they approached to run it. So they have gone to somebody in the Rivals family that is not based here that is going to run that site. And they made a great move hiring Nate Klaus. But I know people are leaving. Some might dabble on both. Some are, going to On3 because they have a great starter subscription thing. But this whole process was pretty wild. It shows you the intensity of the Nebraska football fan.
Yeah.
Of where they get their online content from. I think I was the 9th person.
Well, tell Woody, I don't mind if I'm the 10th or 11th call. I will take that call.
He was extremely pushy, by the way. That kind of hurt our relationship, but I was never interested.
Sure.
I just gave him other names that they should ask.
Yeah.
But it shows you that now there is a major content competition online.
Oh yeah, there's an arms race.
We have internal competition here on this radio station, but essentially we don't have any competition in this market. But online, now you've got four online services that cover Nebraska football. And I'm always curious because I'm watching On3 and I like the people that are there, and you're going to find us on that board. Okay. They've asked us to be involved. What do people want? Because you're seeing this as Creighton basketball has started to elevate, and more so on the recruiting side.
Yeah.
There are more online 24/7. There's a Rivals. There's a couple of other I would say independent boards that cover Creighton athletics. Thomas doesn't want recruiting, but for these sites to thrive, it starts and probably ends with recruiting.
Yeah. So there's a couple reasons why recruiting is so important to sites like this. Number one, and I think this is the most important, is it's year-round content. You have something to publish about year-round. That is the beauty of recruiting, is you always have content. So I think that's why, more than anything, why recruiting is important.
Mm-hmm.
The other part of it is recruiting is one of the areas where you can actually get inside information on. Because, it's not impossible to get information directly from coaching staffs. It's not. Some people have really good relationships with them. Some people get nuggets. But it's a lot easier to get information out of a 17-year-old kid who wants the information out there, who wants to talk about his recruitment, who wants to, have a little moment and get interviewed. A lot of these, listen, some of the guys don't like being interviewed at all. They're uncomfortable and whatever. Some of the guys like having their moment. I'm not judging it at all. I'm just saying it's more likely that a 17-year-old is going to talk to you than it is a guy that's been coaching for 20 years that doesn't want the information out there, right? So, it's easier to get information on recruiting because you have another source, another primary source that you can get information from. Year-round content. So those are two huge things that you can provide to your subscribers that you can give them a premium amount of information, because it's really hard and you have to be really, really good. That's why I think what Hail Varsity does is sometimes a little bit harder than it's hard in a different way than what
they're more long form, in-depth, really good writer content.
Whereas the other ones are more recruiting focused, but it's really difficult to provide premium content worth paying for without providing exclusive information or the perception of exclusive information. You have to be really good at breaking down games, breaking down information, things like that. If you're not breaking news, if you're not getting inside information, things like that, you have to be really, really good at the other stuff. So not to say that it's easy to do what the recruiting boards do, because I know how much, firsthand, I know how much work they put into those. But you have a product that's more tangible to sell that other people don't necessarily have. Whereas if you're going on the straight features, game breakdown, things like that, in-depth analysis, you're putting in a different kind of work that's a little bit more abstract in your sales pitch. And that's pretty difficult, I think. So I think that's why recruiting is such a big part of this online content arms race, because it's a tangible thing to sell that you can have premium information on.
It also, and I agree with you about the recruiting stuff, and I love the recruiting angle.
I do too. I listen. I'm a recruiting nerd. I was an early Rivals adopter. I was on that thing in 2004, right? So I'm all about Rivals. I'm all about the recruiting. I get it. I don't understand the people who love their team that don't care who the next players are. That'll never make sense to me.
Boy, and Sip used to be that guy. Now he's going to be working for a site that's going to live off recruiting. But we all kind of have, everybody that covers Nebraska football, and people say, why do you guys spend so much time talking about a 3-9 team? Because people want to talk about it. They always say, play the hits. It's a revenue generator, even at 3-9. It might be the same revenue, maybe a little bit tick up when they're 9-3, but they're still going to be the attention.
100%.
Why do we have a radio station in Omaha, Nebraska, that's 6A to 6B, 12 hours local talk? Why do we do here in the morning do we do 20 hours? And 86% of it is around Nebraska football and the different angles to that. But we all kind of have the same, like from all of these guys and gals that I know that are on these online sites, they all kind of have the same access to the recruiting content. All right, I got a kid's number. I can wait for him at the airport. I can talk to him. That's why I think even more so now, the boards are returning, because who do you have on your board that is sharing information?
Yeah.
Who is an insider? The one thing about like Bo would have somebody that would peruse Red Sea Scrolls because he had loose lips.
Paranoid.
Well, he had loose lips.
Yeah.
There were people that were sharing information.
He was checking for leaks.
Now, credit to Scott Frost, and maybe this is the culture inside of those walls. You don't have a lot of people that are leaking information on what's been going on over 4 years. You get bits and pieces, but not the just nilly-willy, the willy-nilly that was going on with the Bo Pelini, Mike Riley era. And you also got to remember that the online sites and the attention, and some may say for the good or the bad and credibility, went to a whole nother level when Bill Callahan's staff basically tied themselves into the rival site when they got here.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and you see it not just with obviously Bill Callahan, but you see it now in coaches' contracts where they have bonuses tied to their recruiting rankings. I mean, this is a real part of college football, whether you like it or not. It's not going anywhere. If anything, there's going to continue to be more content and more sites that cover recruiting because, like I said, as long as there are fans that care about teams, there's going to be fans that care about who's going to be on the team next. Especially, honestly, I think that's part of the reason the recruiting coverage has actually increased as Nebraska's been bad, because we're always looking for next year. We're always looking for, okay, when is this thing going to turn around? And one of the things you can look at is what players are coming next. Are we getting better guys? Are we in on guys that are being talked to by the big boys? And it's almost, it's almost that reaching for that glimmer of hope for maybe, this 2024 class is looking pretty promising. Maybe in a couple years we'll be in it in the West. Maybe in a couple years we'll be talking about a top 25 team instead of can we just make a bowl game? That I think is almost counterintuitively, but I think it almost feeds into the recruiting sites even more because they're selling hope.
Yep.
They're selling the future because the present, not awesome.
I remember having a conversation with Sean Callahan back in like 2000, late 2000, early 2001. It was when we were downtown, and it was when he worked for this company. And I asked him, I said, "Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this? Leave here and do this recruiting thing?" And he's like, "Shane, this is going to take off. This is going to be a juggernaut. This is going to be the next thing." And he was on it back then.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he just had that little niche thing, and he's like just had the eye to see that was what a lot of people wanted, and was able to fill that void.
Well, it's a weird industry because for the longest time, it really didn't have much representation.
Almost none.
Like
right?
Max Empfinger was the godfather of recruiting, and then there was Luganville, and then there were a couple of others that had
Tom Lemming.
That had newsletters that they would mail you. I remember getting in the mid 90s the Max Empfinger recruiting newsletter. There were very few.
Well, it was like after signing day, right? They would just say, "Hey, here's who everybody signed. We don't know anything about them."
And the internet was not as prevalent,
right?
So your information was coming through the mail. But that whole industry has blown up across the country. And you make a good point, and which I think is absurd, is that coaches do find a way with good agents to put in their contracts that they get bonuses for recruiting rankings.
Yeah. It's
so
a real thing.
You're relying on a guy in an office watching 100 hours of tape that could make you $25K extra or not. But you got a good agent. You got an athletic director that says, "Hey, no problem. Ooh, yeah, let's put that in there."
But also, the rankings are pretty good now. They used to be a lot more hit and miss.
I think they still are for some position groups, but I'm with you.
They're way better.
The thoroughness is better.
They're way better. And it's more hit and miss in football, but in basketball, they're pretty dead on, especially at the very top.
That's Robbie. I'm Gary. Kevin Allen's coming up. We'll talk hockey. The Eastern Conference Final begins tonight after that wild one out west last night. Dirk Chatelain, Brandon Vogel as well. It's Sharp Betting in the Morning on 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch.
Manufacturer repair procedures is just one way we ensure your vehicle will be returned to you as safe as it was when you bought it. Visit our website at dingmans.com or stop in to experience the Dingman difference for yourself. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Your stomach's doing that I'm hungry thing, but you don't want a burger joint breakfast and you don't have time for a sit-down place. You want a quality breakfast to go brunch fast. Good thing there's Hurrybird. Hurrybird serves up your favorite breakfast and lunch foods fast. From breakfast burritos and avo toast to chicken sandies and grilled cheese to help get you to where you're going. Hurrybird. Next to Early Bird at 38th and Farnham in the Blackstone District. Open every day from 6:30 to 2:30.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Having an issue with ED might begin in the bedroom, but it doesn't end there. It can also do a number on your confidence. But know this, you're not alone. 30 million guys deal with ED in the U.S. Fortunately, treating ED is now more straightforward and less awkward than ever, thanks to Hims. Through Hims, you can get the generic form of Viagra, which uses the same active ingredient for just $3 per use. Just go to 4hims.com and chat with a medical provider online. And if appropriate, you'll be prescribed the ED medication that's best for you. And it'll be shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Simple. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. Get your confidence back at 4hims.com. Love your results or your money back.
To get started today, go to forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free visit. forhims.com/radio.
TrackPhone wants to know, are you an influencer, a big live streamer? No? Then guess what? You don't need an endless data plan. Get just the right amount of data with TrackPhone's new $40 unlimited talk and text smartphone plan. Now with 8 gigs of high-speed data and unlimited carryover on America's largest, most dependable network, now with 5G. Get the data you need at the price you want. TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. 5G compatible device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at trackphone.com.
Experience every pitch, run, and legendary play. Your home for Royals baseball in Omaha. 1620 The Zone.
Sharp and betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
All right, 7:53. We also got $40 gift voucher to give away to Frank's Pizzeria.
Let's get some pizza.
Gary and Shane on Sharp Betting in the Morning. Here is Nate in Ohio, who's been waiting patiently. Nate, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good.
So first thing, I always like to start with something happy. It is my anniversary with my wife. I want to wish her happy 20 years. So.
Wow, congratulations.
Congrats, Nate.
Yeah, so we're apart today. It's kind of weird. My one of our foster children has surgery today, so she's down a couple hours away with him and surgery. So we're apart on our anniversary, but you know, it happens. So
Nate, if Ravi, you don't know, Nate is a foster family, large family.
Well, good on you, Nate. We appreciate it.
Hey, so Nate, you know that China is the anniversary gift for your 20th anniversary.
Like the country?
No.
We actually already have like a set of that. So
okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know what to do. I got myself a Blackstone for Father's Day. I don't know if that. So I'll make her a meal on it.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, guys. All right. So I'm always on delay. So this is a lot of this isn't going to make sense to Robbie at all. But Jello shots, I think, are the bombs. I think Damon's wrong on that. Alcoholic or non-alcoholic, I'm just a big fan of Jello in general.
Okay.
And you're completely correct, Gary. It is pudding, no G.
Pudding?
I'll explain to you all fair.
Right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pro Jello shots. You had me there. I'm in.
Damn right, yes.
Just let Damon know when he gets back that I will just have ice and vodka for him at the wedding, since he wants to be boring.
Nice.
So it's fine.
We're going to Nate's.
Nice.
Yeah, reception of the century. So I'm telling people.
I might have to crash, Nate.
Hey, come on in. It'll be you guys can do a road trip, and you know, I'm sure you can make it some kind of Big Ten road trip coming to Ohio. So, yeah, have fun. It's June 18th. So there you go. Anyways, favorite Tom Cruise movies: Mission Impossible and Jerry Maguire are top of my list. So there you go.
Okay.
And then I really liked your guys' conversation about the casual versus diehard fan. So bringing Robbie into this. So I realized during that conversation, I'm pretty much a casual fan of everything except for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So I'm only a diehard fan of Nebraska. I realize that.
Now,
and Nebraska football?
Now, Nate, are you a diehard of football or Nebraska athletics overall?
No, football.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, during the Florida State National Championship when we lost, like I cried myself to sleep that night. The only thing that makes my week go bad is Nebraska Cornhusker loss. I would say is diehard, right? Like I'm never ever going to leave being a Nebraska fan. Trying to make my kids Nebraska fans, although we live in Ohio State country, so it's very, very difficult because they happen to be a little more successful. Yeah,
just a little.
You had
and you had diehard fan.
You had a comment on Kevin Warren?
Oh, he's awful. You can't have this conversation with Damon because for some reason Damon just loves the guy or something. But now that Robbie's here, I'm going to have the conversation. He is awful. I think he's the worst. I don't think he's just worst commissioner of any Power 5 conference. I think he might be the worst commissioner of any kind of sport ever. Like he is just awful, and he should have been fired immediately for his handling of COVID. But besides him just making mistakes like that, what has he positively done for the conference? And I can't stand the guy. We should have a commissioner as powerful, especially in football, as Big Ten is. And I don't know what your guys' opinion, but my opinion is like we're a close number 2. I actually overvalue the Big Ten, so I think it's almost like a 1A, 1B situation with the SEC. But definitely, I think we're the top 2. We should have a commissioner who actually realizes that and advocates for his conference. I mean, if you watch the SEC network, right, it is nonstop. SEC is the best. SEC is the best. I mean, they could be the worst, right? There could be a team that's like on the bubble because they just don't even deserve to be in a tournament. And the SEC is going nonstop, going, oh, they deserve it. Why are they even on the bubble? They deserve to be in the tournament. Like they're just complete advocates. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And the Big Ten network would be like, well, yeah, I can see why they're on the bubble. They probably don't deserve to be in the tournament. If we're being honest, like, no, I don't want you to be honest. I want you to actually like advocate for your teams. You should be the one saying we deserve 2 people in the college playoff every single year. SEC thinks that 2 teams in the college football playoff is their birthright, and they act completely butthurt if they don't get it. So it's just those 2 dynamics really just tick me off.
Nate, thanks for the call. We'll get into a little bit of that because it hammers home the point when you see what's going on in Destin, Florida, of the SEC propaganda tour.
Yes,
we're in June.
Yeah,
and look at people across the country talking about the SEC,
not talking about the Big Ten.
No, and I think something like that, and they have a big meeting coming up next week, would be great for the Big Ten.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, Greg Sankey that's why he's so jovial.
I mean, it's a good job to have.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 108th to 102nd along L Street. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for some major delays from 192nd to 168th. And if you're traveling along 204th Street, be prepared for a little bit of slowdown from F Street to Pacific. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Nebraska Loves Public Schools.
Discover how one Nebraska school uses an outdoor classroom to connect students to their culture and community in a new I Love Public Schools film. Watch online at iloveps.org.
At Dingman's, our first priority is protecting your safety. We are here to be your personal advocate to ensure you receive safe, proper repairs by the highest skilled technicians in the industry. Stop in to experience the Dingman difference today. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Runza and the Storm Chasers are teaming up to play as the Omaha Runzas. Make plans to be at Warner Park on Saturday, June 4th for Runza Night, featuring special Runza jerseys that'll be available for auction during the game. Be one of the first 1,200 fans to arrive at Warner Park and receive a Runza beach towel. Enjoy Runzas in the stadium for one night only. Get your tickets today at OmahaStormChasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm with family.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Brookside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now. 402-671-7777.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Listen for the screwball of the day this week on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Could be someone screwy or nutty, but worthy of the screwball of the day title. Brought to you by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, the original peanut butter whiskey, now available near you.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Previously on the crossover.
Oh, yeah, you got the little fluffer.
Yeah, it goes on top of it.
Yeah, you know what it is.
What is it called then?
Feather duster?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you don't fluff the ceiling fan.
I think the thing is on the stick is called a fluff.
I don't think that at all. Like, not even remotely.
Yeah, feather duster.
Well, that just sounds weak. I like the fluffer.
Sharp and Benning in the morning. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike Conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though.
What's going on?
He's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team. And ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in Nebraska high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are Gary Sharp and Ravi Lula.
Slides it underneath for Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen now for Kadri. Shot. Rebound is loose. Kadri gets it back. He shoots and scores. The Kadri man can. It's a power play goal, and it's a 4-2 lead for the Avs.
Halftime, Sharp and Betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, brought to you by Hearth, Cigars, Pipes, and Lounge. You want to just relax, enjoy a nice cigar, even a cocktail, pipe. Hearth, Cigars, Pipes, and Lounge has got you covered. Great little chill place to just relax, shoot the breeze, talk sports, don't talk sports, mind your own business, hang out with friends. Either way, they're all inclusive. And a great location off the North 48th Street exit, located right next to Cubby's.
Trying to get hooked up with Kevin Allen. He may be sleeping in after 14 goals were scored last night in game one of the Western Conference Final. Colorado
Probably exhausted.
Edmonton. I'd be exhausted if I was a D-man for Edmonton and not realizing that you should steer guys wide instead of letting them split you to have a walk right to the goal mouth. Eastern Conference Final game one tonight, Tampa Bay and the Rangers, as the Lightning are trying to win their third straight Stanley Cup in the salary cap era where they got crunched. Somehow, some way, they're still alive, and they play the Rangers beginning tonight. Now, that will not have an 8-6 game. I will guarantee that. That is my blood bank of the day, Robbie.
You're taking the under on 14.
Yeah. I mean, it's so rare even to see like 10.
Oh,
for
yeah.
a total.
That's a huge number.
Yeah. So, maybe Kevin, was an under guy, and it was a tough scene for the unders last night. So we're going to try and get hooked up with Kevin. We got Dirk Challen coming at the bottom of the hour as well. We were talking about message boards here while we try and get Kevin. And if not, Shane, we'll get him at another time. The new site that has come on board, covering Nebraska on 3. On 1620 The Zone TV, Redwine65 says, I remember when Nebraska just had an email list, and then Big Red Max started a board, then Huskers Illustrated. Tony Davis used to have a board as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Covering Nebraska sports.
There's a couple boards out there.
You remember like ESPN had a board?
Yes.
Like some of these national sites used to also dabble when the message boards took off about 15 years ago.
Yeah, they tried to get in on the train.
Yeah, and then it was just a debacle.
Oh, it was just cesspool, the worst of the internet, right? But there's a couple message boards out there, Nebraska related. Some of them are local they're just message boards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen any of those where they're not attached to a recruiting site. They're not attached to anything else. They're strictly message boards.
A secret message board is a very popular one as well.
Yes, where they supposedly have insiders, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. That's why I say supposedly, because I don't know. But people with inside information that kind of feed the board, and it's a subscription type model there. I don't know how well those do, but you've got your 4 main ones now, right? But then you also have kind of these periphery type sites that also are kind of feeding into this model too.
There was, like we mentioned last hour, in the Bo Pelini era, where they would monitor the site. There was also a story about somebody from the staff actually went and got a subscription and had a name that was on the boards that was active and would answer people's questions.
Well, then you have some, I've heard,
because you had a lot of injury information that was shared.
Yes.
And a lot of insider things.
You also have occasionally people will leak bad information to see who is leaking things, where it's getting to. So that's always kind of a fun game to play to try and parse what's real and what's not.
Going to the Texas A&M and Alabama message boards today would be rather entertaining.
Have you ever been on one of those SEC boards?
Yeah.
You want to talk about the worst of message boards. That's what people are talking about.
Yes. People are talking about what happened last night in Denver as we welcome in our good friend who covers the NHL and does it very, very well. Kevin Allen, where would you like to start with last night's game in Denver?
Yeah, well, let's talk about the entertainment factor of it, because boy, it was that. It reminded me of the 1980s when defense was kind of just a rumor, but I think we saw all the skill in the world highlighted last night. We knew coming in that Colorado had a deep offensive team, and we knew coming in that Edmonton had 2 of the top 5 or 6 best players in the league as well, and had full of confidence. And I think we saw that on display. But I would venture to say that moving forward, what the coaches are going to be talking about is, we've got to play better defense if we want to win a Stanley Cup because, you can survive last night's game, but if you want to win the cup, you've got to figure out a way to prevent the other team from scoring, and neither team did that very well last night.
Kevin, from what we saw last night, obviously, like you said, probably not going to see 8-6 the rest of the series, but what did you see last night that you think we might see translate to the upcoming games between these two teams?
Well, I think we saw, Cale Makar has just grown offensively and in confidence this season. And, what I saw last night, if you look at the two teams, maybe the depth of the Colorado offense sort of cancels, Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. They have more weapons in Colorado, but Connor McDavid and Draisaitl are, two of the best. But what Edmonton doesn't have is a Cale Makar, and he is such a difference maker. The fact that he can amplify their offense, he can contribute in a significant way. He's like a fourth forward. He's all over the ice. He's got, kind of rover tendencies where, he can, sort of plays like a forward, but he gets back on defense and everything. So I think that will translate all the way through this. That fact that Edmonton can't match that. They don't have anything like that. And then the other issue is, the goaltending. I didn't think Smith was bad for Edmonton in the first period. He gave up 3 goals, but I thought he was actually pretty good. But, I thought he fell apart in the second period, and they described it on television as, kind of a mercy relief outing for Koskinen. But, I think that's a problem for Edmonton. I think it's visible. It's been talked about all throughout the playoffs. As why didn't Holland go out and get a goalie? I think he tried, but there wasn't much available. And now, of course, we have Kemper, and we don't know the extent of his injury. So I think that's going to be one of the themes as well. Is how hurt is Kemper, who has played pretty well. But by the way, Kemper is no different than Smith. Kemper needs to sort of prove that he's a playoff goalie of the third kind, that he can take this team to the next level. But if he's hurt, is their goaltending strong enough as well? So I think those are two of the issues that will translate from last night's game moving forward.
There was part of the game last night, and it was one of the plethora of goals by Cale Makar. It's an obscure rule. I remember it happened. The Blackhawks might have been playing Colorado in 17 that I remember a similar thing where you got to wait for him to touch up. You can push the puck into the zone. Your thoughts, did the NHL get that right last night?
They did by the letter of the law, but I guarantee you that will be talked about in the next general manager meeting because it feels wrong. And I think that those are the kinds of things that always get talked about. I thought, by the way, that Wayne Gretzky's reaction was just priceless because a lot of people don't know that rule, and it's one of those things like you just brought up a memory of that, and then you go, oh yeah, it seems wrong, it feels wrong, even though they got it right by the letter of the law. So it's kind of like when you win something on a technicality, it doesn't quite feel right. But and the complication of it obviously is that they tried to get it overturned and ended up giving up a power play, and they scored on it. So it was certainly one of the turning points of the game, and it's like it was almost a microcosm on the world today, because there were people, even after it was explained to them that actually is the rule, they still thought that that it basically was made up, so that it was rigged against their team. So it was certainly an interesting replay, to be sure.
Kevin, obviously moving forward in the series, Colorado's got the 1-0 lead. What do you think of Edmonton's chances, and how do they kind of counteract that offensive depth you've been talking about for the Avalanche?
Yeah. I thought Colorado, they were my pick to win this series simply because of their depth and even beyond their scoring, like their bottom six. They've got some guys there that are just good hockey players that know how to check, even though we didn't see much of that last night. But, guys like Darren Helm, who've been around the block a little bit, he previously won a cup with Detroit. So, I think they're going to be very difficult to slow down because they do have much more balance in their team. Like the Colorado Avalanche are not ever going to be a great defensive team, but they have the ability to check. It's not all that different from the Edmonton Oilers of 30 years ago, who could score 400 goals in a season, but during the playoffs, they always adjusted their game a little bit, and suddenly, players like Randy Gregg and Kevin Lowe would become more important. And I think Colorado has the ability to do that, and I think they've got some talented guys, like Devin Taves, for example, is a pretty good defensive player as well. And McCarr can play defense when he needs to. So I think that's the advantage, and I don't know that the Edmonton Oilers can compete with that. I don't think they have the means to stop the Colorado offense and get to keep their own going. And also, the key for them would have been a great goaltending series by Smith, and we didn't see that last night in Game 1. Now, if we look at his history in other series, he has started out poorly. Think of that Calgary series when there was a lot of goal scorers, and then suddenly got better as the series went on. So I think that's what they're hoping for.
Kevin Allen joining us here on Sharp Betting in the Morning. Tampa Bay was supposed to be weaker with a salary cap crunch after 2 straight cups. Now they are 8 wins away from a third. How are they able to do this?
Yeah, it's really an incredible story because, their depth has eroded. Like, I don't think you can even argue that they're not the team they were, last year or the first year. They've had turnover, even though Brisebois, the general manager, Julian Brisebois, has done a really good job of being creative and kind of holding this team together the best he could. But they're not as good. But they still have that iron will. The iron will comes from, that collective group that, Kucherov and Stamkos and Hedman and Vasilevsky. And they know, they have the equivalent of a master's degree in winning in the postseason. And, they know how to do it. They're not guessing. They're not trying to figure out what has to be done. They know what has to be done. And, they're committed to it. And I thought it was one of the interesting quotes of this run has been Cooper saying, I think the group feels to me like they want it more this time than they did the first time around. Like that's his perception. And, maybe he's just trying to send them a message. I don't know, but it felt sincere when he said that. And I think that really speaks to kind of who they are. And, yes, they have the talent, but I think their will and their drive, I think has been crucial to their first 2 cups. And I see it now. And, when you have the best goalie in the league, and he is that, now he's going up against the best goalie of this season in Shesterkin. So, and that's going to be, it's a marquee matchup. I've tried to come up with another playoff series where we've had, such a great goaltender matchup. And there's been a few, but this is one of the best of all time. I've covered the league 35 years, and I don't remember anything quite like this. So, that'll be good as well. And Vasilevsky has really been, and you can only judge him by himself over the last few seasons. So he's been ordinary for most of the season by his standards, but not in the last 5 games. In the last 5 games, he's been unbelievable. And I think that's the key. It'll be interesting to see, and I think he likes that goalie matchup, going against Shesterkin. And I know it's not goalie versus goalie, but it feels like it. And I think the perception is that it is, and perception is reality. So it's going to be a great, entertaining series. I wouldn't rule out I'm taking the Lightning, but I wouldn't rule out the Rangers. Very talented team with an exceptional goaltender. The only thing that I think the Lightning will be able to take advantage of that other teams were not is the Rangers have given up more dangerous scoring chances than any team in the playoffs. They're averaging, I think it's more than 12 per game. And, I'm not talking regular scoring chances. These are dangerous scoring chances. So between the dots in the slot area, they've given up 12 of those on average every game, 12 or more. So, they can't do that and expect to beat the Lightning. So they're going to have to tighten up a little bit because they got to give Shesterkin a chance.
Kevin, so you mentioned the great goaltending matchup in the Eastern Conference. How many games is it going to take us in the Eastern Conference to get to the 14 goals that we got in Game 1 in the West?
Well, the way it always works, we're expecting a low-scoring series, and because of that, the first game probably will be 5-4. That's just the way that kind of goes. But both of these goaltenders are great. So it should be a low-scoring game. But I've already mentioned that the Rangers, the defense is talented, but it's young, and it doesn't. And the other issue too is we have what I call the Hasek factor. If you remember back when Hasek was the goaltender in Buffalo, he was so incredible that the Sabres had license to kill offensively, and by that I mean they took all kinds of chances because they weren't terrific offensively, but they needed to take chances. But they felt they could do that because they had Hasek, and it was almost by design. Well, I think this Ranger team sort of feels like that because they have Shesterkin. Like, they take a lot of chances, but I think it's somewhat calculated that, they're betting on their goalie because he's so good, and he has been. So it'd be interesting. I mean, maybe they don't want to play tighter. Maybe they want to. The only way they feel they can win is if they, press. They're kind of a Showtime, style offense because of the goalie they have.
Hey, last one, Kevin. This has been, every year that goes by that Doc Emmerich is not calling the Stanley Cup playoffs is a miss or hockey period, but I know he's enjoying his retirement. This year with the media deal, there are different places to get games, but the studio shows have taken off. What's your general thoughts on the studio shows in hockey? Everybody talks about Inside the NBA and the great chemistry that foursome has. We've seen Wayne Gretzky, we've seen Paul Bissonnette, we've seen studio shows before, but any thoughts on this year's presentation on TV of the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think the intermission shows have been the highlight of the new regimes. And I think, the old format had gotten a little stale with NBC just in terms of it just lacked pizzazz. And, Bissonnette, he brought his name up, or Biz as he's known, brings a splash of controversy always. He's feisty and he's combative on social media. So he comes with an attachment of a reputation like that. So people tune in to see what he's going to say because, he has said a few things that have ticked people off. And, I'm going to give Wayne Gretzky credit, and it's not surprising, but he started out slowly. Like, he's not all that comfortable in that type of format where there's a lot of give and take and jabbing and so forth. But he's gotten better at it, and he's felt good about it. And I saw him quoted recently as saying, he started to enjoy himself because that's not his natural habitat. He's not, he's not a guy that wants to trade insults and do all that kind of stuff. But I think he's gotten more comfortable, and I think he adds something to it because he's so insightful on how the game is played. And I think they've discovered, TNT has discovered a really good mix there they have a combination. Anson Carter's a very good X's and O's guy as well. So I think they've done a good job. I think where they've lacked in both here is the game coverage. We've had some surprises. I think Callahan, for example, has really done a good job as an analyst. Malesko has, I think, continued to improve, but there's been some criticism of Leah Hextall at ESPN, and for me, I have no problems with her, other than the fact that I wish they would turn up her microphone a little bit. I think
Yeah.
she's soft spoken. So anyway, I think for the most part, if you were going to grade it, I think you would have given it a solid B to a B plus. I mean, it's never perfect, but I think people are happy with it. I think people got comfortable with NBC, and I know I did.
Yeah.
And so I was a little concerned. I was used to the way they did things. They were very professional. But now I think we have a little more pizzazz. Using hockey parlance, they got more jam now. They're just a feistier, kind of coverage and ready to push it. And I'll tell you, one of the big elements, having, and I know they stole this from the NFL, but having a referee be able to explain
Yes.
everything. Both ESPN and TNT have done that, and I think that really has changed the game for us.
Great.
To have somebody explain, what the rules are and how it works and what they're thinking and what they're looking for. It's been terrific.
Kevin, as always, I appreciate it, especially after a morning that we get 14 goals in a Western Conference final. I always appreciate the insight.
All right, sounds good. Call me anytime. I'll do it.
Yep, that's Kevin Allen, covers the NHL now for Hockey Buzz. Long time covered the NHL for USA Today, and he now covers primarily the Red Wings, Shane's former hockey team.
Co-favorite.
You'd mentioned
they're going to win. If they win the cup this year, he's never going back. He'll say, I'm a lifelong.
Probably not.
I've been cheering for the Avs since.
I have a jersey.
Well, I was cheering for them when they were the Colorado Rockies.
It's a. I can tell you this. It's an interesting. It's different. And it's more thought out than maybe when you're a little kid, when you're 4 or 5, and you pick a team because of its jersey or its logo, or because your dad or somebody in the family likes. It's the team to follow because of the family. It's a lot different when you're older. And maybe I picked it because it was 5-6 years ago, and it was 5-6 years ago. Maybe I had a midlife crisis, and I picked. When you turn 40, they call that the midlife crisis. Maybe that's what my midlife crisis was. Maybe I went to the Avs. Like I said yesterday, just put out a good product. But I did want to say this, though. You guys had talked about Doc, and it is nice to see, like Wayne Gretzky, when you see the old time players and stuff. And I wanted to mention this.
Mark Messier, by the way, is on a role picking series.
During the Pittsburgh Rangers, and maybe they have them on all the time. I don't listen to Pittsburgh enough as far as the radio broadcast, but it is nice to hear like Mike Lang during the intermission that they do. So it's nice to hear these guys that are kind of brought back in a sense, that have been around for a long time, and then they go away, then come back.
Don Kaharski is who Kevin was talking about as a rules analyst. So he had to describe last night a pretty key moment in that game.
Yeah.
And all I can think about every time I see or hear the name Don Kaharski, you remember Jim Schoenfeld? He was the New Jersey Devils head coach and got into a little altercation in the hallway with Don Kaharski, who was a longtime NHL referee. This is one of the things like SportsCenter. When you went to SportsCenter because it gave you stuff you couldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
That was the confrontation where Schoenfeld said, Koharski said, "You're gone." They were in the walkway coming off the benches.
Yeah.
And Koharski said, "You're gone, and I hope it's on tape." And Schoenfeld goes, "Good, because you fell, you fat pig. Have another donut." Remember that line? That's like one of the famous like SportsCenter moments.
Yeah.
That they kept replaying over and over and over, and lives to this day. So every time I see Don Kaharski, that's what I think of. Because you fell, you pig. Have another donut. Yeah. That was a bad moment.
Not great.
Not great. Would you have become a New Jersey Devils fan back then? That was
no.
During
that was a good product.
Good run of the Devils back then.
I remember them.
Good product.
Yeah, when people painted Devils on their chest and went to the games and painted their face, showed up on Seinfeld. Those were the good times of the Devils.
No, I wouldn't have.
Martin Brodeur playing in the Meadowlands.
If I would have picked an original team at any other time.
Why'd I do this, Robbie?
I don't know, man.
Dirk,
the original.
Dirk will join us about 9:15.
No. We'll get to him next in about 5 minutes or so.
Maybe.
If I would have picked a team like that might have been a team if I'd have been younger, like when I picked my original team. Because I mean, it's Devils is kind of cool, as a kid, but
Shane,
kind
here
of
for the
like
devil.
kind of like now, kind of like
666.
kind of like now, like you imagine like if you're 5 or 6, you might pick the Golden Knights, or you might pick Seattle. I mean, because they kind of have those cool logos. They're very flashy. I mean, they've got all that cool video stuff going on, like on the ice down there for the Golden Knights. I mean, you would imagine that New York at that time could have been that for like a 5 or 6-year-old.
Do you want to be a guest this week on our podcast?
No.
I think we need
You would-
more.
you would- you
no,
would
we
hate
have
me.
we have more in depth.
I think we need more details on your hockey team choosing process.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make it a very
Robbie,
very
why? Why?
I wanted
Stop!
I wanted to make it a very thoughtful and thought out process. When you
You
I
certainly
mean,
have
how
done that.
how
I'll give you
often
credit for that.
how often do you run into somebody who's been able to pick a team as their favorite in their 40s? Probably not too often.
Yeah, you know what they're called? Front runners. You know who, by the way, speaking of message boards, which we've done a lot today, you know whose name on the message board is front runner?
Who?
He's not here today. Dirk
Oh,
Chatlin's
whoa.
coming up in a bit. Sharp betting in the morning with Robbie and for David on 1620 The Zone.
Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Increasing cloud coverage and also a small chance of showers primarily after your lunchtime hours. What we're going to be tracking for your Wednesday. Temperatures only rising into the lower 70s and upper 60s. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a morning low of 50 degrees for early Thursday morning. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 108th to 102nd along L Street. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for some major delays from 192nd to 168th. And if you're traveling along 204th Street, be prepared for a little bit of slowdown from F Street to Pacific. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Fernando's is hiring servers. Fernando's has openings for people who like working with a great team and earning big tips. So if you think you can help customers get their Fernando's fix, then stop into the Fernando's location at 114th and Dodge to apply today. Equal opportunity employer.
Email Sharp and Betting on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me at Gary at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
There are actually two kinds of cigars. The first is the one you smoke with beloved family and friends. The second, the one you enjoy with friends you've just met. And you'll find both at Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. At Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, there's a well-stocked humidor with some of the best bands from around the world and a bar with your favorite cocktails and other drinkables. So what do you say? Which cigar will you be enjoying tonight? Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's.
Spring is in the air. At Lanahaw, we offer the area's most complete selection of landscape supplies and plant materials for all of your spring projects. Visit Lanahaw's Garden Center today. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. 192nd and Center.
People here are raving about QC Kinetics and how regenerative medicine has changed their life. People like Helen, an avid mountain climber who got sidelined when an accident left her knees in constant pain.
I was not able to train or do really anything on my knee.
Helen was told surgery would be her only option. But then she found QC Kinetics and was treated with natural biologics designed to repair and restore tissue in her knees. 3 months later, she was climbing the highest mountain in North America.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain. I began treatment in March, and I summited Denali June the 7th. It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Get your life back with lasting results. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 402-205-4960. That's 402-205-4960. 402-205-4960.
When it comes to cement fiber siding, you want durability, hail and chip resistance, and beauty. You want James Hardy cement fiber siding. Carp's Complete Home Exteriors is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor. Call Carp's today or visit carpsomaha.com.
That big college baseball tournament downtown is right around the corner, and my friends at Tickets for Less have you covered if you're looking for tickets. You know how hard they are to find. Tickets for Less, known for a generation as Ticket Express, they have the best selection of tickets to that big baseball tournament downtown, and they never charge you per ticket fees. You can also buy with confidence knowing you're fully covered by the Tickets for Less 100% fansurance guarantee. Once your order is locked in, it's guaranteed. Order online at ticketsforless.com or call today, 402-398-1999. Tell them Gary sent you.
Living is all about great experiences. We invite you to experience everything that Sarpy County has to offer. The great outdoors awaits you at Fontenelle Forest or Schramm State Park. As the pro sports capital of Nebraska, grab your family and enjoy an Omaha Storm Chasers or Union Omaha game at Warner Park. Nothing beats watching your child catch their first foul ball or perhaps a fish at one of Sarpy's many reservoirs. Visit GoSarpy.com to plan your next experience this spring.
Listen for the screwball of the day this week on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Could be someone screwy or nutty, but worthy of the screwball of the day title. Brought to you by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, the original peanut butter whiskey, now available near you.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. Sharpen betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
All right, 8:37. Let's welcome in Dirk Challen from the Omaha World Herald on this first day of June. Good morning.
Good morning, man. How are you?
We are good. Did you watch Rafa and Joker yesterday?
I did. You know, every time I watch those guys, it makes me feel young again because they've been doing it so long. And then I realize that we're about the same age, and they're running around for 5 hours, and I can't run down the block. So it's a momentary jolt of youth, but it does make me feel good. It's like going back in time and watching Joe Montana against Bill Parcells or something.
I mean, they went 4 hours and 12 minutes yesterday, and the stamina.
In their late 30s.
Yeah, and for the 59th time that they've met, and Rafa's got incredible stamina because he's been stretched coming back from the injury, and the level of play is still so high, and the drama that is there. And I think of all the sports, Dirk, and this is going to be a general question. You look at like the youth coming up in the NFL. We feel pretty good about the young quarterbacks. Look at the youth in the NBA. We feel pretty good. Even Major League Baseball, which doesn't do a good job of promoting the youth, there's a lot of young, exciting players. There's even in hockey. I mean, going right now, you have a 25-year-old that for Edmonton that is capturing this part of the country. But in tennis, where we knew the names and the players for so long, and they were around for so long, doesn't it feel like Federer is already kind of out the door? But when Rafa and Joker finally say, man, enough is enough, what's going to happen to men's tennis?
Yeah, there's going to be a dark period of wandering in the wilderness, because you're right. The sport has just been defined by those three individuals for really the better part of 15 years now. You could probably go back farther than that to 2003. So it's going to be tough, and it does remind me a little bit of what golf has gone through post Tiger, post Phil, and yet those two have maintained their relevance at least enough to attract the audience to come back. Tiger won a major championship, and he's the star attraction, and every time he shows up, and Phil is still Phil. So there's some similarities there. The thing that I appreciate about tennis, and it is a blessing and a curse, is you get to know those figures so well, right? It's like, and that's the thing that I think the NFL has a bit of a hard time with. Major League Baseball certainly does, but it's just the ability to market those individuals and just over a very long period of time. I mean, it's like having a TV show that goes 10 seasons where you get to know every part of the character. And I think the sports where it's harder to do that are sports that have a harder time, maintaining their audience or their sort of devotion to certain guys at the top. So tennis is blessed, but it's going to be cursed here in a couple of years when everybody looks at the French Open bracket and says, who are all these guys?
Well, Dirk, it's funny that you bring up golf because, obviously you don't have the star power in the younger guys that you had with Tiger and Phil, because really nobody had that type of star power. But you can make the argument that the depth of young talent in golf is maybe better than it's ever been. And in tennis, you've got a guy like Carlos Alcaraz, who's incredibly talented, and you've got some other young talented guys in there as well, but he's kind of the one that seems like maybe he's next in line. Is it just a matter of we kind of have to wait for these guys to retire to get to know somebody new, even though the talent might be there? Or is there something extra? I mean, like, obviously Nadal kind of has this charisma and magnetism that not very many athletes in any sport has. So that's probably part of it, but we might just need to wait a little bit, right? Like that. I don't think there's a lack of talent necessarily.
No, I don't think so either. But it's almost like boxing where there's got to be like a, the young gun has to win, right? I mean, it's like go back to Wimbledon 2002, something, 2001. First time Federer beat Sampras. It wasn't 2001. But it was Sampras all the way for about a 10-year period, and then when Federer beat him, it was a changing of the guard. It was like handing over the belt, and you see that same thing, and you've seen it in other sports, but I think it's sort of a boxing phenomenon, and I think you're going to see that with Nadal and some of these young guys, but when the top guys in the sport, when the guys still winning the most Grand Slams are 36, 37, 40 years old, it's going to be hard for young guys to catch on and sort of captivate the audience. So there's going to come a natural endpoint here. I think the safest way for a new star to take off is to win two or three Grand Slams in a row, and that's easier said than done. So you just look back at these 20 years and how few Grand Slams have been won by other guys. It's just amazing. Like that's the thing that just the consistency of those top guys is just mind blowing in a sport where the physical rigor is so strong. I mean, you wouldn't think that a guy like Djokovic could just keep doing it over and over and over, putting his body through that, and yet he was the number one seed at the French Open.
Dirk Chatlin from the World Herald joining us. Let's stick with stars. Let's talk about the NBA Finals that begin tomorrow night. How many true, in your opinion, are there superstars playing in the NBA Finals this year?
Oh, just one. I think Steph Curry's the only one that draws in the super casual fan. And there's, I'm sure there's a little bit of stuff in the Warriors fatigue, but I don't think anybody on Boston is quite there yet. And I think Draymond is probably maybe the second most identifiable person in the series. But he doesn't have the same talent. So I think it's still, Steph's world, but the tradition of Boston and the young stars on Boston, I won't call them superstars, but they're stars. I think it makes for a very compelling NBA final. This is one where I don't think we're going to get to the end of it and say that the winner got an easy draw, unless there's an injury somewhere, and that's very possible based on what's happened. But this seems like a very, very even, interesting, fresh NBA Finals. A nice combination of, old versus new, sort of old tradition, old money versus new money, and Boston versus Golden State. There's just a lot going on. And by the way, there's a really cool style of play, contrast going on too, because Boston's got these this incredible defense, with great long, strong defenders all across the floor, going against the most skilled offense, in the NBA. So it's hard to ask for more than that. And I think it still comes down to from a casual standpoint is people want to see, can Steph do this? Can Steph do it on his own? And if he can, man, that would be quite a statement. Quite a statement historically to his strength.
Dirk, you mentioned the little bit of Warriors fatigue that might still exist. Do you think at all that the last 2 years where they struggled and, missed the playoffs and then got bounced out in the play-in games and were, kind of an underdog and kind of beat up, do you think that has made the Warriors more likable again? Because we're kind of looking at a really different dynamic than when we saw them last with, Kevin Durant in addition to their kind of core group.
Well, I think it's a great point, and I also think it's worth, considering the hypothetical of, how many championships would they have if Durant wouldn't have come, and how would the perception of the Warriors be different if Durant hadn't come? Because this was an extremely likable bunch. The last time you saw them without Kevin Durant in the NBA Finals, and they lost to Cleveland. They lost in 7 games, But in some ways, I think they're kind of back to being refreshing, fun, strength in numbers, Golden State. And I'm a little bit biased because I root for them, but they are definitely more likable without Durant, I think. And that's not only Steph, but it's kind of the whole roster and their player development and really the way they play. I think it's the style of play as much as anything else.
Hey, I think it's interesting how both of these franchises, like Golden State, didn't blow it up once they lost Clay. They didn't all of a sudden panic and say, we got to go get Steph one more. They started to develop players. Then I look at Boston. I almost think, Dirk, Danny Ainge deserves credit for where the Celtics are because he basically built this roster. He fooled Philadelphia into taking Markelle Fultz when he went and got Tatum at 3.
And they were taking Tatum all along.
And now Tatum is 24 years old, and you're like, my gosh, seems like he's been in the NBA for a long time. And he's on the cusp of maybe being a stardom. The only guy that's not on this roster, and, Danny Ainge didn't panic and all of a sudden start, okay, we got to chase this, this, and this. The only guy that he didn't acquire was Derek White, who was, in the trade from San Antonio. It's interesting how both of these teams, these franchises that have been accustomed to winning, went about in building the roster and not panicking and went more like with a gut to build the roster and to keep like involved in the process.
Well, guys, I think LeBron sort of, convinced everybody that to do, that to compete at the highest level, that you have to, first of all, you got to have stars. And second of all, you can't be patient enough to wait. You can't take time to develop players. You just got to go acquire players. That was the name of the game, largely because of that's what LeBron James wanted to do for the better part of a decade. And if you go back through, NBA history of the great teams, it's way more often about development and finding the right pieces than it is going out and getting the right pieces, right? It's the Bulls, they found Scottie Pippen. That was the key, right? The Lakers traded for Kobe Bryant when he was still a pup. The Pistons discovered Ben Wallace. The Spurs discovered Ginobili and Parker and brought him up. The Warriors did it with Thompson and Green and even Curry to a lesser extent. So, I think the best franchises still do it internally, kind of on their own timeline, where it's not boom or bust. If it doesn't work out, we hit reset and start over. And to me, that's way more fun to watch. There's continuity. You're actually investing in your own players and their development. And I think Golden State's got a chance to do this for another 5 years based on the young talent they have on the roster.
Dirk, am I making too much of a stretch to your analogy about team building to make any kind of assumptions about the way Nebraska's put together their roster this year versus the way like an Iowa or Wisconsin does?
God dang it.
I'm sorry, I had to.
You nailed me on that. I'm gonna give you credit. Like, I should have seen that coming a mile away. You guys are always looking for these great segues, and I just walked right into one.
You'd lobbed it up for me. I had to send it home. I'm sorry.
I think your connection there is spot on, and I think everybody involved, even the people in Lincoln who are badly, pulling the strings to make everything happen, would admit to you that there's some desperation in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a perfect world, you're doing it internally over a long period of time, through great player development, and there are certain circumstances where it has to happen now. And Nebraska's in one of those places right now from a football standpoint where it has to happen now. And by the way, they're in that place in basketball too, probably. So, I think sometimes you just have to confront the facts and say, there's no patience left here. We went 3-9 last year. We can't persuade people that it's progress if we're 5-7 with a young roster this year. We've got to go out and we've got to acquire parts and hope that those parts fit together in August in fall camp. And, at that point, maybe we can show enough credibility to go back to a player development model. But I think you're right. Nebraska's in a spot right now where they have to do it the way that they're trying to do it. I think it's a major risk. I was talking to Sam McEwen last week, and it's like, remember when they went and got Sam Keller, who sat on the sideline for an entire transfer year, and when it blew up the next year, we all attributed it to lack of continuity in this mercenary complex. And that was with one guy sitting on the sideline the previous year, and it wasn't enough. It didn't meet our continuity standard, right? And now you're bringing in tons of guys like that, including your starting quarterback, who was not on campus last year. So, our expectations for continuity have changed quite a bit. And I think based on that, this is a major risk, but it's a risk that Nebraska had to take.
Yep, agreed. Dirk, thanks for the time.
Take care, guys.
It's Dirk Chatelain. Just imagine a world where you did have to sit out a year, and if you had to still sit out a year,
yeah, I mean,
we wouldn't have as much movement. But the guys that want to move, or gals,
still going to move.
There's still that hype of that the whole Sam Keller thing is quite a experiment in Nebraska football with the hype and introducing him into the product.
It also
the end result
soured Nebraska fans on transfers for a while. But I will say the transfer numbers started to blow up before the 1 year was eliminated. The movement of players started to, now it picked up even more afterwards, obviously, but we started to see this trend pretty dramatically well before.
More in basketball.
Yes, but it was trending in that direction anyway. That's part of the reason waiving the 1 year sitting out period became such a hot topic, was because this was happening. So yes, it would be fewer guys. We're still in a different period of college athletics than we were in terms of transfers even 10 years ago. This was the direction it was going to go.
Well, it has sped up the timeline for coaches in their leash.
Not everywhere, apparently.
It's the first portal experiment. All right. Coming up in the last hour, Brandon Vogel will join us. I think maybe on air he'll reveal what the cover is for the Hale Varsity yearbook, what it might be. I have a pretty good sense of what it's going to be.
Yeah?
Yeah.
His little breadcrumbs he's been dropping, you picked him up?
Well, think about the frontline players that would sell a magazine. You're standing in line at the checkout counter.
Yep.
And you're reading the magazines, if you still do that. And if you still go to a grocery store where they still have the magazines right there while you're in line.
Right in the checkout there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would be on the cover that would get you to either pick it up or just go, you know what, throw that on the pile there. I'll buy that.
That's some ideas.
Yeah. Well, I think where your head is, I think that's what will be on the cover of Hale Varsity.
Well, maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, we will. He's coming up at 9:40. There's Ravi. I'm Gary. There's Shane. Sharp Betting in the Morning at 1620 The Zone. Hey, you're looking for, as we begin the month of June, you're looking for that next car, truck, or SUV, new or new to you. There's one place to go, place that I've gone. Woodhouse Buick GMC. Shop there first. You can experience the difference. Now, when I say experience the difference, what do you mean? Well, they got a large indoor controlled showroom. And what is different is the customer service. They're known for the customer service and taking care of the customers, answering their questions, not being pushy. If they don't know the answer, they're going to go and get the answer for you because they want you to be part of the Woodhouse Auto family. And they want you to have a good experience and keep coming back. That's why they have increased their attention to their customer service, their knowledge, and they've streamlined the process. I purchased my last vehicle online. I thought, who does this? Well, I did it. And it was very, very easy through Woodhouse. When you're online, you can chat with a sales team member. You can complete a credit application, value your trade. You can see all of the new and pre-owned inventory right there at a click of a mouse. Go there today in person, 119th and I, Woodhouse Buick GMC, or online at woodhousebuickgmc.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Experience an all-inclusive full bar and buffet, TV, music, and a variety of tailgate games. Book a corporate tailgate event or just hang out with friends. The best part is we're located on the south side of Charles Schwab Field at the Hilton Omaha. Visit blurparties.com to buy tickets or to find out about sponsorship opportunities. That's blurparties.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
Hi, this is Kathy Canoyer with Canoyer Garden Center. The beauty and color of spring is in our greenhouse, featuring thousands of gorgeous hanging baskets and hundreds of varieties of Canoyer grown product. Come in and let our family help you find what you are looking for. Whether it's home decor, annuals, perennials, shrubs, tropicals, or vegetables, we have it all. Canoyer Garden Center between Highway 370 and Cornhusker on 66th Street in Papillion. Open daily, 9 to 7.
At Canoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
When you're a kid and it feels like no one is in your corner, it's a pretty tough place to be. And let's not forget the spikes in depression and anxiety from the pandemic. That's where Teammates can help. When kids have mentors through Teammates, they're more likely to feel engaged in school and more hopeful for the future. Just by simply being there, mentors can make students feel confident in their own skin, even when everything else seems to go wrong. Become a mentor and be there for a student by going to teammates.org. A message from JTech Construction, proud supporter of Teammates Mentoring.
Being a small business owner means you're busy. So when you need a business loan fast, go with Rapid Track Loan from Core Bank. Visit rapidtrackloan.com to apply. At Core Bank, we make lending convenient. Loan subject to credit approval, not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my number one priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
There's nothing quite like listening to the Kansas City Royals
High ball to the wall, leaps,
on 1620 The Zone.
Sharp and betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
By the way, good luck to everybody today. The application process to get tickets to the 2023 Masters opens up for the next couple of weeks.
There you go. Have you gone?
I have not gone during Masters week.
But you've been to Augusta.
I've been to Augusta National. I've gotten to go inside. It looks a little bit different when you're there in August compared to if you happen to be traipsing around the grounds in April.
Sure.
Around the grounds. But
you're open?
I am hoping to break my 11-year streak of getting the rejection email.
Okay.
So the process has opened up, and good luck to everybody.
Because it's like a lottery, basically, right?
Yeah. And you know, when you know people that get that magical email, and you get the bad email,
oh, that's not great.
Yeah,
not ideal.
I'll prepare myself later this summer for the shame and pain.
I've applied a couple times. Obviously, never gotten the good email, but you know, I think it would be. I'm not like a huge golf fan, but it would be an experience, right? You know, and I've heard You mentioned going there in August. I've heard that they basically plan their entire, like the entire structure of that place is so that it looks incredible for that 1 week. And not that it looks bad the rest of the time, but it's very much a peaking mindset
Yes.
for Augusta National. Not, hey, it's like, hey, let's make it look as good as we can all year round. But the only thing that really matters is that 1 week.
I mean, it's still in August. It was beautiful.
Sure.
But yeah, the colors didn't pop as much.
Yes, they go out of their way to make it look like that on
You ever
television.
applied for Final Four tickets through their lottery?
I haven't.
I know nobody that's ever won with the lottery for the Final Four.
I don't have like a huge desire to go to the Final Four mostly because of the venues they're in. I've heard it's not a great viewing experience. Like if Creighton were to ever make it, I would probably try and go as a media member, but I don't think I would ever try and get tickets as a fan.
You don't think like where they put the students, that's a good seat behind the baskets and not really elevated?
I don't think where they put anyone in a football stadium for a basketball game is a good seat.
I think at the Superdome, if I was on the second level and I was from in between the baselines, I don't think that would be bad.
It's probably not terrible.
But yeah, when we took it out of arenas into domes and we went 60, 70,000.
It's not a good experience. Yeah. You're basically just going to say, I went to the Final Four.
But I'm still apply.
Yeah.
So good luck to everybody that is submitting their application for the Masters. It opens up today. It goes for the next 3 weeks. At least they let you get through Father's Day before they
crush your dreams
and start sending out shame emails. All right, Brandon Vogel in the last hour of Sharp and Ravi at 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 108th to 102nd along L Street. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for some major delays from 192nd to 168th. And if you're traveling along 204th Street, be prepared for a little bit of slowdown from F Street to Pacific. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More.
The dog days of summer are here, and Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More is offering a special $55 AC system check. Each system check donates 10 pounds of pet food to the Nebraska Humane Society. Give us a call or request service at justcallburton.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Kugler Vision. If you have tough vision problems, or if you've been told that you cannot have LASIK and you are stuck with bad vision, don't believe it. There are 7 different modern vision correction procedures, and they offer all 7 of those at Kugler Vision. Connect with Kugler Vision today. Find out about the options that they have and what it could mean for you. Give them a call today at 402-558-2211 or book your consultation online at kuglervision.com.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
When cancer hits home, when you need answers and hope, turn to Nebraska Medicine, where cancer care is world-leading and personal. In one visit, you'll meet with the team specializing in your cancer, discover treatments based on your DNA, and the support that makes a difference, like a nurse case manager and multiple locations, so you can always be close to home. For cancer, this is where you begin. Visit nebraskamed.com/cancer.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
No matter how dark it gets, there's always a sunrise, a warm bed, a warm meal, and hope. Sienna Francis House serves hope to those experiencing homelessness and addiction. Every day, we provide more than 1,000 meals and serve nearly 500 guests in our emergency shelter, Miracles Recovery Program, and supportive housing apartments, and help our guests navigate a path to permanent housing. Learn more at siennafrancis.org.
Have your mom friends shared all the hacks? You know, the prepping bottles before you go to bed so you don't have to make them in the middle of the night kind of hacks. Here's one more. Give yourself a fourth trimester, the time you need to relax, restore, and take care of anything that doesn't feel right, like sore hips or even peeing when you sneeze. Athletico Physical Therapy can help you rebuild your pelvic floor muscles and work through any postpartum aches and pains. No prescription needed in most states and services covered by insurance. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com.
1180 The Zone is your home for Omaha Storm Chasers baseball. The Storm Chasers are in action at Werner Park and beyond with an exciting team filled with future Major League stars. Join Jake Eisenberg for every pitch, every hit, and every out. Tune in and stir up the Storm all season long on 1180 The Zone.
The Storm Chasers are at home versus the Indianapolis Indians. Pre-game is set for 6:45 and first pitch is at 7:05 on 1180 The Zone.
Sharpen betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are Gary Sharp and Ravi Lula.
Broken loose by O'Connor. Here he comes. 2-on-1 for the Avalanche. O'Connor holds. Pass back door. Wide open. Cagliano. He shoots and scores. Hey, Mumbo. Mumbo Cagliano. His second goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The touchdown is good. So is the extra point. Avalanche 7 and the Oilers 3.
Shane, what were you doing at that moment last night? Were you doing air high fives?
Well, right
alone
before
in the
that, I
apartment?
was kind of biting my nails. It was a nail biter up to that point, but I mean, I was pacing around pretty good. Maybe doing some fist bumps. Just doing some high fives, that sort of thing. So yeah, to answer your question, that's pretty much what I was doing. I was just going bananas, bouncing off the wall, just just doing cartwheels.
No, you weren't.
I mean, Damon didn't have to do it, so I mean, I might as well.
I'd like to see you try and do a cartwheel.
No, I just keep that to myself.
No? It's a private activity?
You want the studio to smell like Ben Gay? All three of us do a cartwheel, pull a muscle.
No,
I used to be able to do cartwheels. I haven't tried in probably 15 years. So I'm not pretty confident I can't do it anymore.
Last time I attempted to do a cartwheel, I believe was the time that I ruined a couch when I was a kid. That couch was the greatest goal line stand.
Oh, yeah.
You'd run and dive over the top of it.
I destroyed my parents' couch. Just destroyed it. And then I used to also use it as a backstop.
Yep.
Like I'd throw either footballs or baseballs into the back of it. Every once in a while, sail on me a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Unfortunately, we had some bookshelves behind the couch, and there were some collectibles on the bookshelf. So I learned, though, I found a spare mattress and put it in front of the collectibles. Problem was the impact onto the mattress still broke the collectibles.
So you probably got the line from one of your parents. We can't have anything nice around here with you. I got that a few times.
Yeah, it wasn't that specifically. My mom was a little upset that I'd broken some collectibles. So we moved the mattress down to the garage, and I threw against the garage wall instead of inside there. But you gotta. It's hard in Nebraska if you're a kid. You're trying to work on your craft there, and in the winter, you gotta get creative.
The amazing Daniel tweets at us. The good, I got to see Shaq play in person in the NCAA tournament. I think this is 91 when the Huskers were a 3 seed. The bad, I was there to see Jose Ramos. The really bad, it was the Metrodome. I couldn't see anything except that Shaq still looked huge. I think of that. So that regional, Nebraska was a 3 seed. They played a really good Xavier team.
Mm-hmm.
And before the Nebraska-Xavier game, I believe the Duke and LSU played. Chris Jackson.
Oh,
was
yeah.
with
Yeah.
Shaq.
The later to be known as Sharif Abdul
Rahim. Mm-hmm. Or no, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
He was the Rauf. I mixed those up with Sharif Abdul Rahim played for the Grizzlies, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
remember when Phil Jackson said that Chris Jackson was better than Steph Curry?
There was a time, yes.
It's not shocking he was a bad GM. In retrospect, that makes sense. That adds up.
And Steph Curry is still playing and may
Quite
win his fourth.
Which puts him in a different category.
It does, and he may win a finals MVP, which is still sometimes, without thinking deep, you're like, oh, I thought he already had one.
This should be his third.
He is, the question I asked Dirk, he is the true superstar. Now, Jason Tatum, at the age of 24, is knocking on the door. It's still hard to believe that Jason Tatum is only 24. Seems like he's been in the NBA for a long time. But the thing about Steph Curry, and either you or Dirk mentioned it, and I think Golden State's still in a good spot to be where they are on an annual basis. They're not done yet, is because if they need to turn over the reins, they got a guy named Jordan Poole that is ready to take that. Now, is he ready next year? No, but he is like in waiting to be the next Curry of Golden State.
By the time, because I think I would still describe Curry as being in his late prime. I think he's on the back end of his prime. By the time he's out of this period of his career, you would hope that Jordan Poole is ready to take the reins over, right? And I think you mentioned it at first, the development that Golden State has had with some of their guys. The fact that you can just throw Moses Moody into a conference finals. Dude has barely played all year. He's a rookie, has barely played all year, hasn't even played as much as Kuminga has. You just throw this dude out there and he's like, don't care, ready to go.
Well, they used, I give him credit, and this is, again, their front office didn't panic. They stuck with okay, Klay Thompson's eventually going to be back. Why decimate our roster trying to win now when we know that Klay Thompson will be back? Now, I don't think they expected 2 years, but look at what they did in the Dallas series. The game they got blown out. They essentially, and they kind of got back into the game, they used it as a growing moment for two 19-year-olds.
Yes. Yeah. And Steve Kerr does that all year. They've been talking about it on the broadcast a little bit, and I don't know if people realize that, because if you don't watch a lot of regular season games of a team, you maybe don't understand the way their roster is managed. They play everybody. At certain points of the season, Juan Toscano-Anderson plays real minutes. Gary Payton played real minutes before, the cheap shot artist, whatever Brooks is. What's his first name?
Dylan.
There we go. I want to say Devin, but that was the Creighton guy. Before Gary Payton got knocked out, he was playing real minutes. You've got all these random guys playing real minutes for a team. Bielitsa in and out of the lineup. He'll play some, doesn't play some. He's a veteran. You have all these random guys playing minutes for this team, so that when you get in a situation where, hey, we're in foul trouble, or this guy's a little bit banged up, or we just need a different look out there, they're all ready. They all have real NBA game time minutes, and a lot of them also have G League minutes to stay sharp outside of the stretches during the season where they're getting NBA minutes. And so that's why you can throw Moody out there, and he's 19, 20 years old, and he's just ready to go, and he's playing in a Western Conference Finals like he's been in the league for 5 years.
He's become a rebounding machine.
And listen, he can shoot, he's athletic, he's long. Like, there's a profile of guys, and somebody asked me this on Twitter yesterday about Bryce McGowan's, because there's a handful of projections setting Bryce McGowan's to the Warriors at the end of the first round. And they're like, does this make sense to you? Is this a good fit? And I just told him, listen, he fits the same profile of guys they've been drafting. Long, athletic, with scoring upside. Right? And the more shots you take at those types of guys, one of them is going to pop, especially when you're as good at developing guys as the Warriors have. I thought Jordan Poole was a terrible draft pick. I thought it was awful. I was furious. And he turned into something that I think he's even better than they realized he was going to be. But he turned into a guy that you can legitimately have a conversation about. Yeah, in a couple years, he can take the reins from Steph Curry That's a conversation you're having about Jordan Poole, who up until this year was kind of trash.
He was a G Leaguer.
He was a G Leaguer, and when he got his NBA minutes, they weren't good.
No.
And all of a sudden, because of the way they develop players, you've got the track record with Jordan Poole, with Moody, with Kuminga, with Looney, who's turned into apparently a playoff machine.
Well, they also have, it's like you wonder the impact of coaches in sports nowadays. The manager in the dugout has been lessened because he might not necessarily be writing out the lineup every day.
Sure.
And analytics have taken over so much. I think we've seen in the postseason, especially like in last night, they made sure that when McDavid was on the ice, Bednar, the head coach of the Avalanche, he had Makar and Taves out there. I mean, he matched line. He matched every time McDavid was there. We're seeing that more in the postseason, where coaching does matter still. And I think in this series, you got two great head coaches where coaching matters. They make decisions.
Yeah.
They make decisions on the fly. I'm a big fan. I always say this about, for example, Scott Frost. People are saying, well, what's going to be different this year? Okay, is he going to be better Monday through Thursday with a different staff, more organization, more of a purpose, a direction? Everybody's got their own responsibilities. Okay, that's great, because that leads you up to the most important day of the week for any head coach in college football, and that is Saturday. I want to know what you're like on Saturday. You can say, well, the hay is in the barn, we've done all this. But there comes a point in every game on a Saturday, what are you doing in game? There's going to be a wrinkle that you were not expecting. How do you adjust? Or do you just stay the course and hold on here? I want the guy that's going to be good when it's game day, because that's what I'm paying you for. I'm paying you a lot of money, regardless of sport. When it's game day, that's where you're making your money. The elite ones can build up to game day, where you can say, man, game day is easier than practice was. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
But you still got to play the game, and there's still moments during the game that you have to move the chess pieces. That's why I like this. I think that's an intriguing matchup between a veteran coach who's coaching a team that has 123 games of NBA final experience against a coach that this is his first time, but they both have the DNA of Popovich, who's got a really good, intriguing, trying to find their identity roster in Boston, that, healthy or not, I like what he has done during the postseason with matchups and how he's pushed the right buttons. I mean, look, they were basically dead around January 1. So that's going to be fun to me, that matchup.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you see it with like Mike Budenholzer is a good example. He's a guy that pretty famously through the league doesn't really make adjustments.
No.
He's pretty good in his prep. He's pretty good in what he puts into place. But if you make an adjustment, he's like, yeah, we're going to keep doing what we do. And if you stop us, congratulations, you get to win. And that's what we saw in Boston, or against Boston this year, right? Milwaukee kept trying to hammer what they do with Giannis and everybody there. And yes, they didn't have Chris Middleton. And if they have Chris Middleton, they probably win that series. But he didn't make any adjustments for not having Chris Middleton. He didn't make any adjustments for what Boston was doing to him. And Boston and Ime Udoka ended up getting the win there, right? And so I am really interested to see if the situation gets to Boston at all, the stage gets to Boston at all, because no matter how composed you think you are, it does feel different when you get there. And on some level, I do think it matters the experience, not only of the players for Golden State, but also of the coaches, Steve Kerr, the coaching staff, where nothing's going to shake them at this point. They've been through everything. So does that mean they win? I don't know, but that is an advantage for them for sure.
We'll discuss more about the NBA Finals because tomorrow is game number 1. Just plan on Golden State's going to win a game on your home floor.
Oh, 100%.
They're going to win a game on your home floor, so you got to do the math when you're Boston or
And
whoever plays
if I'm
Golden State
not
in the postseason.
mistaken, they haven't lost a game on their home floor yet.
They are they're 9-0 at home. Boston actually has been better on the road.
Boston's been a good road playoff team.
7-2 on the road, and they're 8-1 against the spread, which is 3.5 right now.
Yeah, they've been a good road playoff team, which is important, especially in this series because they're going to have to win on the road.
Yep. Before we go to break here into the Equitable Bank inbox, Shane, this is directed towards you. This is an email from Jacob. Oh, it's not a bad thing. Listening to the talk of Shane's hockey fandom these last 2 days reminds me that one time I've wavered from fandom of the teams I support to this day when I pretend to be a Vikings fan. I think are we on agreement that your fandom, except for Shane, is like when you are young, you pick your team.
Yeah, usually.
Like when you are young, that's the team that you grab. And for some of us, Robbie, myself, we stick with our team. And we don't, because they're bad, move on to another team. But Jacob wanted to impress a girl he had a crush on in middle school. Happened to be the year the Vikings had Favre, which was also Todd Haley's first year in Kansas City when the Chiefs went 4-12.
Wait, how old is this kid? He was in middle school when Favre was on the Vikings?
You know Jacob, basketball Jacob. Not Jacob Padilla, but Jacob Bigelow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jacob is young. Jacob just graduated from Nebraska not too long ago.
Thanks for making me feel old, Jacob.
Yeah. By the way, thank you for bringing up Todd Haley's crap year in Kansas City. But he had a crush on this girl in middle school. He pretended to be a Minnesota Viking fan, a poor girl, Minnesota sports fan through and through. That was a tough charade to keep up. Yeah.
So I could see that. I mean, that's a different way to, especially when you're younger like that. But
I couldn't pull that off.
No,
I couldn't pull off the charade that, yeah, I'm a big fan of your team.
Let me just say this. This is probably going a little deeper than Jacob.
I hope you're a fan of Team Sharp.
This is probably going a little deeper than Jacob intended here, but as someone who has been divorced, let me just say, be yourself, because you can't keep anything up forever. Anything that's not really you, you can't keep that act up forever, I promise. So, like who you like, be who you are, and if the girl doesn't like you, move on, buddy.
I think we took this from a sports conversation to a different level.
It's life advice.
Hey, that's good. That's okay.
Think
okay.
He's young. I'm trying to intercede on his behalf before he makes the mistakes I did.
Think about this another way too. You can look at it from the younger point of view like that, or you can look at it from the older point of view. My mom, when I was talking to her a couple weeks ago on the phone, she said, "You're no spry chicken anymore." I realized that, and I'm not even for sure what that means. It just means I'm getting older. I'm not getting any younger here, people.
I mean, nobody is.
Nobody is. I mean, the older I get, the less opportunities I'm going to have for somebody to, be victorious in the way that I want to see them. So I'm getting less and less chances as the years go by. So just trying to make the most of it. That's all.
Yeah, it's called front running.
Yeah. I'm picking up the dictionary, and your picture is there today. That's okay, Shane.
Now, I will say,
under smart, under intelligent.
I'm not a devoted diehard on my NBA fandom.
Mm-hmm.
I follow players. I was a Jordan fan growing up, so I was a Bulls fan. I adopted Kobe very early on. Rookie year Kobe, I was in. It was mostly the Fro. I loved the Fro. I loved young Kobe Fro. That was my deal. So I became a Lakers fan. As Kobe's career kind of changed trajectory, and he became a type of player I didn't like as much in terms of stylistically, moved on, became a Warriors fan. But I was a huge Steph Curry guy in college. I was a true believer at Davidson, and couldn't believe that he fell to 7. And then they got Clay a couple years after that. I was all right. I'm good to go. When those guys are gone, I don't know what kind of fan I'll be in the NBA.
Mark writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. Poole will be able to pick up where Curry leaves off. Both are equally as good at carrying the ball and not knowing what a pivot foot is. Only difference right now is Poole still gets called for it occasionally. Mark is back. Mark likes to talk about the Dubs.
That's such an old man take, though. I mean, were you watching Ja Morant at all when he was in the playoffs? Like, you don't have to dribble with your hand on top of the basketball anymore, Mark. We're not in the John Havlicek, Bob Cousy days anymore.
Ever?
You're allowed to have a little bit of manipulation with the ball. You know what? You also can't hand check. I'm sorry, not allowed anymore.
Yeah.
Trying to allow some freedom of movement here. The game evolves, Mark. Evolve with it. It's okay.
No.
Mark, I will pass along any future emails to Robbie. All right. When we come back, Nick Saban is absolutely right. Nick Saban's talking. We should be listening and not getting at him for what he said about Jimbo Fisher. He said something else that I think all of college football should embrace. And remember, Saban usually says things that turn out to be true years down the road. He did something yesterday, reminded people that he said something a while back that is true and should be true throughout college football. I'll explain. Brandon Vogel to stop by as well and Sharp Betting in the Morning on 1620 The Zone. Hey, the College Baseball Championship is coming up shortly downtown. You know what? We've hit the first part of June. That means before the month is over, we'll have a national champion. And right now, you can be there to watch the national championship. Save 10% on College Baseball Championship tickets for a limited time at ticketsforless.com. That's where I turn to. It used to be Tickets Express, but now it's ticketsforless.com. You can use a promo code to save that 10%, CWS10 at checkout. Any College Baseball Championship ticket order. Deal won't last long, so act quickly. The code again is CWS10. Find your College Baseball Championship tickets now at ticketsforless.com. Was there earlier today looking for a friend? They've got a great selection. And if you're selling tickets for less, they're buying. Call now, 402-398-1999 to get an offer on your seats today. So if you're selling your College Baseball Championship tickets, Tickets for Less is currently paying top dollar for seats at the Chuck. No need to list the seats yourself. Call 402-398-1999 to get an offer today.
Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Increasing cloud coverage and also a small chance of showers primarily after your lunchtime hours. What we're going to be tracking for your Wednesday. Temperatures only rising into the lower 70s and upper 60s. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a morning low of 50 degrees for early Thursday morning. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KETV News Watch 7.
Dads want steak. Visit omahasteaks.com, type Bishop in the search bar, and order the Dads Want Steak Pack today.
It's NBA Finals time, and it's your chance to score big with the FanDuel Sportsbook. John and Josh here for our favorite sportsbook, FanDuel. Throughout the NBA Finals, FanDuel is giving new customers $200 in free bets guaranteed. That's when you place your first $5 bet. You can bet money line, point spreads, props, so much more, and you can combine bets for an even bigger payday with the same game parlays.
John, if you have not tried FanDuel yet, now is the perfect time to give it a shot because the only thing sweeter than watching the finals is cashing in on all of the action. Join today with our promo code 1620 and turn a $5 bet into $200 in free bets, win or lose. Make every game feel like Game 7 with the FanDuel Sportsbook promo code 1620. 21 plus, present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions to apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Why are we experts in total pest control? Because what good is a beautiful lawn if bugs and pests keep you from going out and enjoying it? This is Chuck Monaco with CM's Outdoor, now part of the Ryan Lawn and Tree family. Our CMs and Ryan Pros are known as the very best at getting rid of the nasty critters that enjoy chewing on your lawn, shrubs, and trees. So it only makes sense that we would also eliminate those annoying pests that see you as a tasty snack. Introducing Pest Guard Plus. We've combined our 4 most popular home pest control services into one year-round program. It includes keeping bugs out of your home, flea and tick control, mosquito, and rodent control. Pest Guard Plus keeps pests out of your home and out of your yard, so you can enjoy summer indoors and out. Visit bestomahaLawn.com to learn more and receive a free estimate. Sign up now for Pest Guard Plus, and your first application is free. Enjoy a pest-free summer with Pest Guard Plus at bestomahaLawn.com. That's bestomahaLawn.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Brookside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, We'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now. 402-671-7777.
1620 The Zone. Live and local, broadcasting 6A to 6P in the Host Coffee Zone studio. Host Coffee, building healthy and happy break room refreshment services to Omaha and Lincoln metro area businesses. Discover a better break room solution for your office at sales@hostcoffee.net.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Listen for the screwball of the day this week on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Could be someone screwy or nutty, but worthy of the screwball of the day title. Brought to you by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, the original peanut butter whiskey, now available near you.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
It's the Sharp and Benning in the morning moment of the day. Here on 1620 The Zone.
Yeah. And their development. And you know, I think Golden State's got a chance to do this for another 5 years based on the young talent they have on the roster.
Dirk, am I making too much of a stretch to your analogy about team building to make any kind of assumptions about the way Nebraska's put together their roster this year versus the way like an Iowa or Wisconsin does?
Gosh dang it.
I'm sorry, I had to.
You nailed me on that one. I'm not giving you credit. Like, I should have seen that coming a mile away. You guys are always looking for these great segues, and I just walked right into one.
You'd lobbed it up for me. I had to send it home. I'm sorry.
Dubrov.
Yeah, well, I was proud of that one.
Put that on the resume tape. Coming up here in a little bit, Brandon Vogel. The SEC meetings are going on day number 2. They generate a lot of attention. Media are there. Sports Center is live. Coaches are there. People are wondering about the coaches' seating chart. There are a lot of interviews. Feinbaum is wall to wall with athletic directors and coaches and controversy. And Nick Saban is asked about Jimbo Fisher yesterday, and he walks it back and
got no problem with Jimbo.
Yeah,
I think Jimbo's got a problem with you, Nick.
Jimbo is avoiding Nick Saban. Well, he can't avoid him when they get to the game in October. So people have had maybe too much of Nick Saban. They've had too much of Alabama being really, really good.
Sure, yeah.
But I think as Nick Saban has gotten older, and Nick Saban is always going to look out for Alabama, and he should. That's who he works for. That's who he wants to be good. But he's also kind of morphed into, I want to leave the game in a good spot. And
yeah,
again,
like,
there's always an angle for Alabama, but there are things that he says that I think are for the health of college football. And this whole name, image, likeness thing, which it's not going away.
Sure.
He has hinted on what the issues are. Now, he, of course, should not have taken cracks at Jackson State or Texas A&M. But
or
what he was
Ole
saying
Miss previously in his
what
previous
he
comments.
was saying, he's not wrong. And he's looking out so that this sport doesn't gets waylaid. But what he does is, okay, this is what I see is wrong with college football. And if we don't change, you know what? I'm going to play the game. And then all of a sudden, he's got portal guys and name, image, likeness on his current roster are bigger and better. He said one thing yesterday, because there is the big discussion that also impacts the Big Ten is when it comes to scheduling. And he said something that I've been a big believer of. He's always wanted 9 conference games. And he wants to play all Power 5 teams because he's looking out for the fan. You want to, and he's in a conference where it just means more. You know, that's their
Sure.
tagline.
Yeah.
So what does that mean when it comes to scheduling in college football? Give fans games where it means more for them to go. Their hard-earned dollar. Do people around here want to go to North Dakota on September 4th and Georgia Southern on the 11th or the 3rd and 10th, whatever the dates are, the first 2 games? You've got North Dakota, FCS team, and then you've got Georgia Southern. I mean, Clay Helton bringing Georgia Southern out of the tunnel doesn't do anything for me, other than it's the 3rd game of the season.
Not a big Clay Helton guy?
It's Georgia Southern. If I'm paying money and ticket prices are going up,
yep,
doesn't it make sense to pay for games that matter? And he's saying that in his own conference. Let's play 9 games because I would rather, as a TV executive, I would rather get a Georgia Vanderbilt game over Georgia and the Citadel.
Sure, yeah.
And play Power 5 schools. Now, not everybody in that conference is going to be happy because they're like, oh my gosh, we're not going to be able to make a bowl.
I'll say, how can I schedule my way to 6 wins? Well, let's be honest. There's bad Power 5 teams.
Yes, there are.
Kansas is going to get real popular.
Not everybody can play Illinois.
Kansas is going to get real popular. But, I mean, I am glad that he is on board with the 9-game schedule. I think that's a positive.
He's been one of the rare ones in that conference.
And it surprises me that he's been on that page and the conference hasn't followed suit. Because usually what Nick Saban wants, Nick Saban gets. So that's a little surprising to me. So the opposition against him must be basically everyone else. Because that's about the only way that it doesn't get done.
And
right?
he's going at it the right way, saying, you know what? If we're the best conference, why not play the best?
Right. And also I think it does hedge a little bit for Alabama, because say you go out and lose a game to a non-conference opponent, you have a harder time spinning that, depending on who the opponent is, than spinning, hey, the SEC is the best conference in America. There's whether that's true or not, that's the perception, right? So you say, hey, we're the best conference in America, top to bottom. You could lose to any team, any week. No loss is a bad loss in the SEC. That's a harder sell if you have a bad week against somebody from the Pac-12 or somebody from the Group of 5, even if it's a really good Group of 5 team, right? Cincinnati loss is a harder sell than even a mediocre Auburn team loss, right? If they had lost to Auburn last year, Alabama, which they almost did, that's an easier spin to, well, it's Auburn, it's a rivalry game, SEC, everybody's good, everybody's got 4 and 5 stars. Then you lose to Cincinnati and you're like, that's a bunch of 3 stars from a Group of 5 school. What happened there? Right? So it's advantageous for him, even though it makes his life a little bit harder. Maybe it makes his life a little bit harder because, spoiler alert, I don't think the bottom of the SEC is actually very good. I think there's some freebies there to be had. But that's not the perception. The perception is everybody's good. You can lose to anybody. And that's not totally true.
Well, I think you need to listen closely at this time, because I'm feeling more and more as days go by and the money gets larger and the angst towards the NCAA gets louder, is this is the time to break away if you're going to do it. If the Power 5 in football are going to break away, this is the prime time right now.
As they're negotiating deals.
TV contracts are up. There's 2 major brands that are about to change conferences. And you've got a guy that's saying, why don't we just play Power 5? Let's play 9 in our conference, but then let's play those other 3 games. They've got to be against Power 5.
It's certainly
in a conference that has that special weekend in November that is known as the SEC versus the FCS.
It's the worst weekend, right?
Yes.
It's the worst.
And he gets it from the fan standpoint of, why do I want to pay for this? He's very observant. When I walk in my stadium, even at Alabama, and we're playing the Citadel, and I've only got 70,000 people in here.
Yeah, it's sold out, but nobody's there.
Listening to him yesterday, listen closely. I don't think there's a more prime time right now, if it's going to happen, for the Power 5 to break away in football than there is at this moment.
Well, there's basically only two options here, in my opinion. Is you either have the Power 5 break away and do their own thing officially, or you have to expand the playoff and allow access to all of Division I college football, right? Because right now, what you have is an unofficial split. Now, I know Cincinnati made it last year, but that was an aberration. You have an unofficial split between Power 5 and Group of 5, so that if you're playing in the Group of 5, there's really no opportunity for you to win a national championship. College football is unique in that, because college basketball, everybody's got a shot. College baseball, everybody's got a shot. FCS, everybody's got a shot, right? FBS college football is unique in their exclusivity, or exclusion maybe is a better term, of over half of their members not really being eligible for their championship. So if you're going to have that be the structure, do it officially so that the Group of 5 can have their national championship as well.
One other note, Greg Sankey yesterday, who is very jovial, and why not? He's the most powerful guy in college athletics right now.
What's he got to be mad about?
He's got the keys to the college football playoff. He did say we would be interested in the college football playoff expanding to 8 with no automatic qualifiers. So take the 8 best teams.
So he's trying to get like 4 SEC teams.
Yeah. But if you think about it from the Big Ten standpoint, that actually might not be a bad play.
No.
Because you could get your winner and your loser if that losing team, maybe they're upset, but you have like Michigan and Ohio State last year. Let's say if, in the world of no divisions, they meet again.
Yeah.
Listen closely to what Saban
Those are
is
the
saying.
only 2 conferences that should be happy about it.
Yes. All right. Coming up next, Brandon Vogel from Hail Varsity.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Summer is here, and if you have a gotta get it done this year project, trust the official exterior experts of the Huskers, J-Tech Construction. Call them for a free estimate on roofing, siding, windows, or even solar. They're close by with 3 locations in Nebraska, including Lincoln, Grand Island, and Omaha. Need financing? J-Tech offers 0% interest for 60 months. Call 402-261-3682 or go online to yourexteriorexperts.com. J-Tech Construction, Nebraska's exterior expert.
Everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. It is a great time for you to get your golf game back in shape with their director of instruction, Mike Favre. Give him a call at 402-498-0220. Whether it is individual lessons, whether it is group lessons, whether you are a single handicap or have never played golf before, he can help improve the game of golf for you, and thus you will enjoy those rounds when you get out and play. They're located just north of the Dodge on 120th Street, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
Okay, team, it's summer. Your training all comes down to this. Checklist. Emma, sunscreen? Check. Alex, shades? Yep, set. Baby Zoe, diaper bag? We're just gonna call that a yes. Are you ready for Funplex? Check. Well, out to the minivan. But we can't drive. Let's find Mom. And then go to the minivan.
It's all for fun and fun for all at Funplex, 70th and Q, dude. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Having an issue with ED might begin in the bedroom, but it doesn't end there. It can also do a number on your confidence. But know this, you're not alone. 30 million guys deal with ED in the U.S. Fortunately, treating ED is now more straightforward and less awkward than ever, thanks to Hims. Through Hims, you can get the generic form of Viagra, which uses the same active ingredient for just $3 per use. Just go to 4hims.com and chat with a medical provider online, and if appropriate, you'll be prescribed the ED medication that's best for you. And it'll be shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Simple. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. Get your confidence back at 4hims.com. Love your results or your money back.
To get started today, go to forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free visit. forhims.com/radio.
1180 The Zone is your home for Omaha Storm Chasers baseball. The Storm Chasers are in action at Werner Park and beyond with an exciting team filled with future Major League stars. Join Jake Eisenberg for every pitch, every hit, and every out. Tune in and stir up the storm all season long on 1180 The Zone.
The Storm Chasers are at home versus the Indianapolis Indians. Pre-game is set for 6:45 and first pitch is at 7:05 on 1180 The Zone.
Being a small business owner means you're busy. So when you need a business loan fast, go with Rapid Track Loan from Core Bank. Visit rapidtrackloan.com to apply. At Core Bank, we make lending convenient. Loan subject to credit approval, not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
All right, we welcome in Brandon Vogel from Hail Varsity, the magazine, hailvarsity.com. The cover of the magazine. Are you ready to unveil it?
In about 14 minutes, we will be. So,
Brandon, such a tease.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about it because we've talked about this, had some fun with it over multiple weeks here leading up to it. Well, I guess if I can't do it here, at least I can say it's coming shortly. So check Hail Varsity social channels for that.
You could do it here, though. You could.
I could. And I'm tempted because the show has been very good to me over the years. Maybe we can negotiate that for next year, but there's other members of my team that might be mad at me if I did that.
All right, so let's I think I kind of know because you've been kind enough to drop some hints. If and in the preseason magazines and the Hail Varsity Yearbook, which is always a must-have, will be coming out shortly. But like the Lindy's and the Athlons are coming out, and they've got their picks of the Big Ten, and Nebraska and Lindy's shows up fourth. Garrett Nelson is thought highly of. Luke Reimer is thought highly of. Athlon has Garrett Nelson first team all defense. I believe they have Mathis second team all defense. If Garrett Nelson has an all Big Ten year, not just where he gets second or third team, but if Garrett Nelson in this conference is an all Big Ten defensive end or outside linebacker, however they're going to slot him, what does that mean for Nebraska's defense?
That would be a very good development, I think. I don't think Nebraska has had a first-team All-Big Ten linebacker since Levante David. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think so. It's one of the longer droughts for a position at Nebraska. And you look at them this year, and I think it's undoubtedly the strength of the defense, not just Nelson. Which, if he's getting first-team All-Big Ten buzz at this stage. That's pretty impressive because you can look at Reimer and you can look at Henrich and the numbers that they put up, but I do think Nelson is poised to have a pretty big year. If Caleb Tanner kind of continues on the trajectory he was last year, and then you get what you think you're getting with Mathis, that's a pretty strong group of guys at that second level / first level of the defense.
Brandon, is there anybody on the offensive side of the ball that you think has the potential to have an all Big Ten type of season?
Really good question. There's nothing. There's not one that immediately jumps to mind. I mean, there's people I could talk myself into.
Sure.
I mean, really, someone like Vokalek might be as close as anyone. He hasn't been that kind of leading pass catching tight end for Nebraska, but he might need to be. Might need to be this year, and with the offensive switch. Beyond that, it's like kind of taken a long shot for me. I mean, if Teddy Prohaska comes back and looks like he did in a very, very small sample size, I mean, he might be one of your leading contenders. In this case, kind of what you haven't seen from some of these Nebraska players on offense might be as good as what you have seen from some others.
Hey, give me Ravi and I were talking earlier because now that the magazines are coming out and you're somebody that puts out a magazine a lot and you're in that industry and the yearbook is very, very special to Hail Varsity. And again, it is a must-have. The photography is great. The writing is great. All the stories, the capsules, everything that goes into it that makes Hail Varsity what it is. But how has that become more difficult with college football in waiting so that you have all the latest information? Like you're going to have stuff on O'Shawn Mathis and Wynn and Williams that other magazines are not. So how do you balance that of, hey, I want to get it out, so Robbie said, hey, if you can't be the best, be the first. How do you balance having all the latest information in this new age of college football where rosters are changing up until the last moment to getting it in the hands of people sooner than others?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So we were always a little bit content to know that some of the real early college football previews, Lindy's, Athlon, some of these that you see, it's kind of the first one you typically see. We decided pretty early on, like, we're going to let those go because, part of our pitch is we're doing a similarly sized magazine. This next one's going to be 160 pages, and it's basically all devoted to Nebraska or the teams that Nebraska plays in the Big Ten and non-conference. So we hoped that differentiated us a little bit. And it's actually been, I think, fortuitous for where this current era is at, because I finally just yesterday, magazine goes to print on Monday. I'm like, we got to have a cutoff date for when these rosters are basically locked for our purposes. And it did allow us, Purdue has had two of their players that I selected as 3 players to watch have departed since the end of spring football. So you can get those things in. You can get Nebraska's late additions in. And it's going to be that way going forward. I think I heard that Athlon did push theirs back a little bit. So it becomes hard to get that as up to date as you can be. But it also becomes harder, I think, to, if you're really serious about projections and previews of these teams, becomes a lot more difficult to do that because these rosters are so much in flux from basically the end of the last week of the regular season until the kickoff of the next one.
Brandon, how much thought have you or do you give to, pushing back even a little further to allow yourself to gather as much information to be more accurate with your predictions and projections, or at least as accurate as possible? I guess what's your kind of thought process of how you kind of make that decision of what's too early, what's too late?
Yeah. So, I mean, we set aside these dates at the printer, basically a year in advance. So just kind of starting to think about that now of, is it worth, maybe pushing back a couple of weeks for next year to specifically account for that? It's my feeling right now is you kind of have this window where it's preview season where you expect to see these things, and it would be tough to fall outside that, even if it made things a little bit more update if this came out, say, July 1st. So it's a give and take on that. Always, but I think we're pretty good with this mid-June timeline.
Brandon Vogel from Hail Varsity joining us 7 minutes away from unveiling the cover. We're just going to hold him for 7 more minutes till we force him to tell us what the cover is. Hey, one of the key discussion points at the SEC meetings, and also is going on in the Big Ten, is how to schedule in the future. 8 games, 9 games. How do you schedule to get the best teams playing for the playoff? One thing that Nick Saban brought up yesterday, and he's always been an advocate of let's play 9 conference games and let's play all Power 5 teams. How do you think in this era where TV has more of a say because there is so much money that they're giving to these conferences, how do you think the SEC and the Big Ten will be able to schedule and handle the cupcakes and the cash and how they go about scheduling in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert in sort of TV ratings and revenue, but, it doesn't seem like, even as just kind of somebody who pays attention out of personal curiosity, like, I don't know that there's a big enough gap yet between, if you were to say, well, Georgia, you playing Stanford on a Saturday does drastically less for us, your TV partners, than if you were to play, another SEC game, Vanderbilt or whatever. So it's just, I think it would have to come from, well, either we get to the future that I think a lot of people think is coming, where basically a group of power schools, however large that may be, breaks off, and then that's all there is. Or the TV networks would have to start seeing a big difference. It's just, I mean, you look at the bowl game ratings, which I know is different than a full college football Saturday, but we're still in an era where it seems like it's like just put football on TV. People will watch it.
Yeah.
It doesn't totally matter who plays. The big games will get, slightly bigger ratings, but it's not like, that Georgia-Stanford game is a nothing, because there's a lot of Georgia fans out there, and for a team in the title race, which they seems to be likely for the next few years ahead, people are going to watch or at least drop in.
Brandon, if we do see a move by the SEC to go to an all Power 5 schedule, how long do you think it takes for the rest of the Power 5 to follow?
Probably not long, because the SEC occupies such a space in this sport that they get to dictate a lot of things. The Big Ten is about the only conference that maybe has the power in terms of TV money and earning potential to stand up to that. And we've seen the Big Ten do that, on various things in the past. But if the SEC goes there, people have we basically start from a point each season where the SEC, you'll be surprised if there aren't at least two teams in contention for the playoff. And I think that's the only conference that gets to do that. So if they're willing to say, yep, we're going to do this, we're going to beat up on each other, we're going to decrease some of our conference teams' records, and we think it's fine, I think it then makes it okay for other conferences to do that in a way that's not there now.
Just means more. The SEC. All right. Congratulations that you're almost close to, your busy time of the year is about over. I look forward to in 3 minutes, the cover will look like what again?
It'll look like a Nebraska player who I think we're all pretty high on entering 2022.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost got him.
We tried.
Almost.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, guys.
Big thanks to Kevin Allen, Dirk Challen, Brandon Vogel. Ravi, who'll be back in tomorrow on the day of the NBA Finals for his beloved Dubs.
Let's go.
For Shane, who this morning is celebrating his adopted Colorado Avalanche. And for me, who has no dog in
Damn
the
right,
hunt.
yes.
Sharp betting in the morning. We're back again tomorrow at 6 on 1620 The Zone.